What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Footy with an Edge. Did I call it or did I call it? I said in my match preview that I think United are in trouble in this game. This is going to be a repeat of the Burnley game, and I specifically pointed out the two or three issues that are going to get us in big trouble. What did I say? I said long throws are going to be a problem, and that's why we might need Maguire in the last 20 minutes. And I said counterattacks are going to be a problem, and that's why we need Euro to start. My thumbnail had Euro in it, and I said Euro must start. And what happened? All three of the goals we conceded were to counterattacks. Both of the first two goals are avoidable. The first one, especially, directly related to Maguire. It didn't even take 10 minutes into the game for Maguire to make the mistake that I called Maguire was going to make. And he doesn't know whether to twist or turn. He thinks he's going for an offside trap and he's too fucking slow, right? I'm sorry for swearing, but he's too slow. And obviously that leads to a goal for Brentford. And it's a great shot, and you could say it's two goalkeeping errors and one great finish that led to the three goals. But how many more excuses are we going to make? At the end of the day, Amorim is a stubborn manager. He's a manager that wanted to die on the system hill, right? He wanted to keep it to 3-4-3. He doesn't want to change the system. That's fine. We've looked at his stats before. He has only ever played the 3-back or the 5-back in his entire career. So fine. You're not going to change that. Totally with you there. After that, you want to die on the hill of playing Bruno Fernandes in the midfield too. And listen, I get it. He's the best passer, and he's probably the best player that can connect the dots in terms of this system. He's not good enough defensively, but he's willing to take that risk, and he's willing to deal with the consequences of playing Bruno in the middle. But then Bruno misses another penalty. We could have won the game against Fulham if he scored his penalty. And he's supposed to be a really good penalty taker, but he cost us the 2 points in that game. And in this game again, he misses a crucial penalty at a crucial time. Okay, they've been taking 4 minutes to check the goals and for whatever you can say. There's tons of distractions, but he's supposed to be one of our best paid players. He's our captain, and this is what you're paid to do. This is your job. Your job is to score that penalty, and he screws it up. So you're dying on the system hill, and the system seems to be failing you based on what everybody is saying, right? Even though I don't think so. But you're still losing games. So arguably, is the system failing or succeeding, right? Then you have Bruno Fernandes, who is the hill you want to die on in terms of, I will not move this guy out of the midfield. Even when we're losing today, he didn't want to move. He took Ugarte off and brought Menu on instead of taking Bruno off. And then Bruno puts in that performance. I don't really know what to make of this, because we seem hard stuck in the progress that we're trying to make, right? Inos came over and invested 20 whatever, took 27% of the club in terms of ownership, and they're putting in like the director of football and getting in all the right people at the back, and we bought like 3 promising attackers this season, and as soon as we start to build up some positivity for the season, or even for this game, because we beat Chelsea last week, it seems like we take 2 steps back. And I'm trying to make sense of it, guys. You've been watching me for a while, or you might have been recently started to watch the channel. I try to stay positive, but I'm struggling to find the positives right now, because Brentford were 17th. They have struggled to beat every team that's out there, and by the skin of their teeth, they got the draw against Chelsea in that game. So when they've been struggling so much, okay, they've been a good home team. They beat Villa, they drew against Chelsea, and today they beat us. But they were still 17th in the table, and this is one of those games that we should have absolutely won. And this was the easiest way that we could have gone into a a 2-game winning streak, but we dropped the 3 points. So someone help me understand. Like, I think Math Hub with Mr. VV says he always gets a starting 11 wrong and waits too long to put in subs. Rishi says, hate to say this, but Van Disney is 2 years older than Maguire, but he has the recovery pace to fend off the first goal. Maguire makes the error, Bruno misses penalty, Binder lets 2 goals slip. That's a pretty fair assessment of the game, but at the end of the day, who is responsible for that result, right? Who takes the responsibility and says this was on me? I mean, Amorim might get sacked, and looks like that's where things are going, right? The trajectory is towards him getting the sack. Now, whether they wait for his first year to officially be over and they sack him in November, time will tell, but this was horrible, guys. And I have no confidence. I was really hoping that this game would give me some positivity to sort of look forward and say, maybe we can win 2 on the bounce, and then maybe that gives us the confidence to go beat Sunderland. But this is exactly what we did under Ollie when things were going bad. This is exactly what we did under Ten Hag when things were going bad. We would be so inconsistent. We would win 1 week and play really well, and the next week everything would end up going against us. So whether that's a lucky goal or us getting a sending off or anything that could go against us usually would end up going against us. And that's what I feel like is happening today. I mean, let's take a look at the statistics here, right? Brentford had 1.99 XG. They had 10 total shots, 8 on target, and 6 big chances in the first half. I think there must be some mistake here. Oh, right. Yeah. In the first half, they had 4 total shots, all 4 on target, and all 4 were big chances. And they missed 2 of their big chances. So they could have been 4 goals up in the first half. We had 3 big chances as well in the first half, but we're not going to take them. And by the way, all 3 of those big chances came from the same Šeško goal, where he had 3 shots on goal, and all 3 of them, Kelleher bounced 2 straight back to him, and finally he scored. So I don't really know what to make of this game. I mean, I wish I could sit here and analyze the tactics. I have some notes about certain players that did good things. I even have notes about Binder, making some good saves, because he did make some good saves. But then what does he do for the 3rd goal? I mean, that is worse than Onana. At least Onana would save shots that came straight at him. Onana's mistake was, covering the near post or parrying the ball straight back, which, by the way, Binder did for the 2nd goal as well. So what the hell is Binder doing in net? And now I'm worried that there's so much pressure on Senna Lomans that he's going to come in and he's going to face the situation where he has to make it do or die. If he's not good enough, then what the hell are we going to do? So there's added pressure on the next guy as well. I just, everywhere you look, this club is in big, big trouble. I actually think I am finally at a point where we should just probably take the money for Bruno and move on, because it's not that he's bad and he's the reason that we're in this position, because let's be honest, he has pulled us out from the ditch many times, but we need to turn a new leaf. We need to get beyond the Bruno Fernandes era, and if that means we need to sell Bruno and we need to sell a few more players, I really don't care. I think Maguire needs to go, Luke Shaw needs to go, Bruno Fernandes needs to go. I can't be here for another sacking post Amorim, because let's be honest, things are not just going to change magically. We might go beat Sunderland next week, but then we're going to get smashed against Liverpool. If that's how we play, Liverpool's going to score 7 against us. In that 7-0 game that we lost, by the way, they actually did score almost every chance they had. If we went and watched back the XG for that game, when we lost 7-0 to Liverpool, they had like 3 XG, I think. So they were basically converting every chance they had, whereas Brentford didn't do that today. So if we go and do the same thing against Liverpool, we are going to get smashed. And that could be the last game for Amorim. And I don't know what date that is. Let me see when the Liverpool game is. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to read the chat in a second, guys. I just need to get a lot of things off my chest. See, Liverpool is on October 19th, and I think sometime in November is when his 1 year expires. So Ineos will save some money from that, and it's early enough in the season where you could say getting in getting in a new manager at that point will just save us some what's it called? We can still save the season if we sack him, on November 24th instead of October 24th, right? So yeah, I mean, there's lots to talk about. I want to get your thoughts. Looks like there's a few people watching, and let me read the chat here. And I'm going to bring in Rishi here quickly. Fire Whiskey says, "Congrats on the monetization. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, but I would rather United just win the game because honestly, this has ruined my weekend. Saturday 7:30 kickoff for me here in Eastern time in Toronto." And Pratik says, "Sack him." Yasin says, "It's over. There's no turning point. Writing's on the wall." Ilario Pastori says, "We're not playing for the striker since Oli was sacked. Look who scores for us." I mean, Sheshko scored today and he had 6 shots, but yeah, I mean, his 6th shot was in the 32nd minute, and then for the next 60 minutes, he didn't get a single shot. Ehor says, "Sup, boys, that was bad." Makuda says, "I'm still stuck on the hill that Amorim needs more games and more time. Today, the selection was a bit wrong." I mean, Makuda, it's probably the right thing to say, and for me too, I don't want to see another manager get sacked. But what is the point? I feel like the mistake here was made by the mistake here was made by Ineos to appoint a 3 at the back manager because we didn't have the squad for it, and now despite all the money that they've spent, we still haven't fixed the squad. There's so much more work that needs to be done with the squad for it to be quote unquote fixed. So we're not going to get that much time. The results are going to be bad and probably worse than this. We could lose to Sunderland next week, and then what? Right? What are we going to do with that? We're going to be 7 points after 7 games. That's, relegation form, and everyone's going to look at all of the games he's played and all of the points he's accumulated, and it's just not good enough. And whether it's Amorim's fault or whether it's the board for not giving him all the players, you can't sign 10 players in one window. So what are you going to do? Thiago absolutely dominated Maguire and De Ligt in this game. I don't really think so. It was more to do with the counterattack, and we know Maguire didn't have the pace. Arpan says, "Bro, we are hopeless. Nothing else we can say." Bruno must leave for Saudi and get 100 million. Didn't watch the game. What's your analysis of the game? There's no analysis, dude. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. There is no analysis for this game. You need to look at this game from a emotional perspective, and you need to look at this game from a big picture perspective. There is no analysis of this game because it was very simple. 3 counterattacking goals, mistakes made by the goalkeeper. It's all the same issues that we've had before that led to issues in this game, and that's what pisses me off. Okay, I've been yapping on enough. Let's get the first caller in. We have Rishi here. By the way, guys, the Discord link is pinned in the chat. If you guys want to get your thoughts in, please join the Discord server and join the waiting room channel. And I would love to get your thoughts because I need some therapy after that result. I need to hear from you guys. Give me some positivity. Give me something to appreciate, something to understand, because I am kind of going crazy. Rishi, you're live on Footy with an Edge, mate. What do you make of that result?
Hi, Andy.
Go on.
Can you hear me?
Give us your thoughts. Yes.
Okay, so first things first, first order of business. Congratulations on the monetization. Much deserved.
Thank you.
I still remember sometime in December 2022 when the World Cup was on, I came across a channel that was analyzing Messi's game in the World Cup, and tiny channel with maybe 50 or 60 subscribers. And I was blown away by the content I saw. And it's been almost 3 years since then. A bit stop start, and the channel is up to 31.6K subscribers. And I couldn't be happier to see the growth because you're one channel, you're one creator that absolutely deserves every bit of the success that is coming your way, every bit of recognition.
Okay, so that's about the last bit of positivity we're going to hear in this call. I appreciate that, Rishi.
My question is, Andy, Just hear me out. Hear me out. Everyone knows what happened in the match today. I put it in the chat. You said it out. Everyone who saw the match and each one of the people who is there on the call right now knows what went on. It was a squad that is ill-equipped to play the style of football that this manager has been hired to play. So now the question is very simple. You said that this manager was a mistake because we do not have the squad to play three at a back. Let us assume that the decision to hire this man was not a mistake. The mistake then would be to fire him, right, without providing him the right squad. You have seen this. You have seen this board, which is a bunch of dilly-dalliers, indecisive pricks who should have fired the manager after the FA Cup. They did not. They kept him on. They gave him a new contract. They hired a director of football. They fired the manager and they fired the director of football. They hired a new manager and they over promoted a guy who was Southampton's director of football for 6 months and United's technical director for 8 months. And they made him director of football. Look at what Arsenal have done. They got rid of Edu, who was technical director and then briefly director of football. And then they brought on Berta from Atletico Madrid. Look at the business he has done for his club.
Yeah. Rishi, just give me 1 second. There's a super chat in the channel. The first one I've got since the monetization, so I appreciate it. Wayne Jude Berdeman says, you think Amorim will get sacked in all honesty? If yes, who will replace him? And if not, what should he do or what will Inos do? Wayne, I'm going to give you my thoughts and I'm going to give it to Rishi here as well to give his thoughts. But I think, listen, at the end of the day, the manager is the only person that can get sacked, right? We're not going to sack 10 players or 11 players and buy a whole new squad. This isn't Football Manager or FIFA Career Mode, unfortunately. So our only solution here, or only let's say quote unquote fix that we can do is replacing Amorim. What I am worried about is who we're going to replace him with, and lots of people are saying Oliver Glasner. And listen, I think when you see a situation that isn't working out, instead of doubling down, you should think about a different solution, right? Because we have gone into this three at the back solution for seemingly no reason, right? There hasn't been one good reason I've heard from Inos to say that we are moving towards a back three, right? Nobody has come and explained this. And they wanted Amorim as their man, and that was his system, and that's kind of what we're playing. So to go and say now we should go get Glasner because we have all these center backs, I think is investing in the system for a wrong reason, right? So in my opinion, if Amorim gets sacked, we should just go look for the best manager that's out there that can probably play a 4-back system. Or if he's playing a 3-back system, I want somebody from Ineos to come and explain what the reasoning is. Give me a good reason for why we should play a 3 at the back and why it's the system for the next 5 years. If you can't explain that, then I don't want to see another 3 at the back manager at this club. Rishi,
but Andy, how are you even expecting Ineos to come and do this? When was the last time Jason Wilcock did an interview? He met with the ex-players association, and in a 16-minute clip on YouTube, he's spoken for 3.5 minutes. The rest of it was just his experience as a football player for Blackburn and other clubs, and what it was like coming up against United. Because obviously it was an ex-players association, so they wanted to hear what it was like to come up against them. So when have you heard either the CEO talk about the recruitment strategy or the director of football talk about it? In fact, more than those two, I've heard Ratcliffe speak about the club. These people are more than happy to let Amorim field the questions. He has given 180 interviews, I think, or 450 interviews, or some godforsaken huge number in the 6 months after he was hired in his first half season. These people are not going to give you any explanation, and don't expect it either. These guys do not know what they want to do. See, they hired a man to play a back three, but didn't furnish him with all the tools. They have given themselves an out that if I want to sell Bruno, and if I want to play Cunha in the 10 and Mbeumo on the right, I still have Rashford who's there at Barcelona. If I can't sell him, the next manager might fancy him and play him on the left. Yeah. And then you have four fullbacks. You have Shaw and Dorgu, and you have Mazraoui and Dalo. And then you have four fit centre backs. Give old Maguire a fresh contract, keep him for 2 more years, and then you play with Maguire and Delict, and you have Euro also.
Yeah,
Trade in.
see,
They've given themselves an
Rishi,
out.
my point here is that if we want to go to a back four system, we can still do that, right? So if we wanted to sack Amorim, my only point is sacking Amorim. First of all, wrong decision, because if you have backed this man to come do good things at this club, then you should back him till the end and make sure that this system is a success. Because the problem is the players are getting used to letting their manager down, and they're getting used to sacking managers. That's the problem at the core of this club. The Brentford result is just 3 points lost. But what we're losing by sacking Amorim is yet another, more proof to the managers that we should, if things are not going your way, you should just get rid of the manager, right? And what? How is this Cunha's fault? How is this Mbumo's fault? Okay, they didn't have the best of games today, but they've been with this manager for 7 games, right? So it's not their fault that this manager is getting sacked, but all the other folks that are there who've been there from before, individual mistakes, players not standing up, that is the problem. But the larger problem at hand
Andy,
is at this club, we need to back our manager when it gets to a tough time. And that's the reason why I don't think it makes sense to sack him. But Amorim hasn't helped himself at all, right? He's very stubborn with the system. He's very stubborn with playing Bruno in the midfield. And he's been stubborn with keeping Bayindir in net. And let's be honest, he chucked 2 goals into the net today. So there's lots of problems that Amorim needs to address, regardless of what the board has got wrong. And I feel like if we are going to sack him, just sticking to the back three system just because you started that with Amorim also doesn't make sense.
yeah, basically what you're saying is we are caught in a conundrum, caught between a rock and a hard place, because we are damned if we do and damned if we don't.
Yeah.
And in everything you mentioned right now, I was just thinking, say a new manager comes in, he plays a back four, he plays a 4-2-3-1, he plays Bruno in the 10, and he starts Menu. Menu's a fan favorite. He delivers a few good performances. Menu Ugarte, Menu Casemiro, right? And you alternate between Mbumo and Ahmad and Cunha, and then you have Shesko up front. So you somehow manage results with these, and then suddenly there's an uptick in form because these players will do decent on counter attack. Who in the world will not do decent in the counter attack? Brentford is a shit team who was 17th in the league before this game. They did pretty well on the counter attack. These people come in. Bruno does well. We have an uptick in form. What is that manager's long-term philosophy? Is he going to stick to the? Is he going to stick to the counter attack? And here's the kicker: they wanted to sell Bruno, and he's most probably gone in the summer. You get results with him in the 10, then what do you do after that?
Yeah.
You do you understand? We are actually screwed, brother. We are actually
Yeah.
screwed.
No, we're
Because
screwed.
and
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
the only way out of this from both parties I see from the board and for the fans, not talking about the manager because his job is in question. The only way out for both the board and the fans is to back the manager. You
Yeah.
have to bear the pain. There is no option. Every other choice is a bad choice. When Brailsford and all these people came in with their fancy 1% improvements and cycling tights and God knows what all they brought into the club,
Yeah.
when they came in with these 1% improvements, what was the procedure they followed? They might have done something like a consulting firm does, right? A
Yeah,
McKinsey
yeah,
or
yeah. Just like
a KPMG does.
an analysis of what's
Yeah,
wrong, basically, a state of the union type of
yeah.
report.
So
Rishi, I'm
exactly.
gonna cut you off there quickly, because we have 4 other callers waiting in the waiting room, and you guys as well in the
I
chat
just, I just,
if you
I
want to
just
join. Yeah,
quickly, I appreciate that. I'm not going to take more of your time or the chat's time. I
yeah,
just want to say that if you make the worst choices option, or if we go down this path, what is the worst thing that can happen? Sticking with Amorim is the safest option, and that is what
yeah,
they should do. They should not be swayed by emotion or anything else.
yeah.
That's it. Peace. Congratulations
Awesome.
on the monetization, brother. Better times to come, I'm sure.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Rishi. First
All
caller
right.
there.
Thanks, Andy.
Give giving me some positivity on my monetization, but the rest of the club, I mean, we are in a tough place, guys. Aditya says Rishi dropping facts. There's a lot in the chat here. I'm just gonna get the next caller here, but I'm just gonna read like 30 seconds of the chat. Wayne, absolutely, you can join. Please call in on Discord. I think you are waiting, but we have a few other people ahead of you, so I'm just gonna get them in first. Let's see here. Zelalim says, Andy, what I want you to explain is, did you see when throw is taken, even any player is ready to accept the ball? I mean, yes, I think the long throw was a big problem, and that's the reason he went with Maguire in the first place. If you guys watched my preview, what did I say? I said one of our issues is that Maguire is good for the set pieces, like the long throws, but he's not good on the counter attack. And we could have played Euro from the start, but he's not good with the set pieces. So all three of our goals came from counterattacks, and looks like I was right? We should have started Euro, but we didn't. So let's see. We've got Dart on the show. Dart, you're live on Footy with an Edge. Go on, introduce yourself quickly for the first-time viewers, and then let's talk about this shit show.
All right, it's I'm calling from Canada. Long time, since 1996. Manchester United fan, been through it all. The modern era, especially the winning part of it. Yeah, this was. There's some things in this game that really like. There was a video of me watching this game. It would go viral, I feel like, because I was just so angry at different parts of the game. There were certain things that made me just so, brutal. Like one of the things, just as an example, and this seems like maybe small in the scheme of how bad we played, but there was a camera, I don't know if it was in the second half or the first half, but Dorgu and Shaw along the left-hand side had some sort of interplay where they kicked it off each other and it went out of bounds, and then Brentford quickly threw it back in and sort of moved down the field rather quickly. Mm-hmm. It seemed like neither Shaw or Dorgu sprinted back. I'm like, what the hell? They were like jogging, and it left. It came to nothing, but it was like, what are you doing? Like that's not a football thing. I feel like that's just like a hello.
Yeah, you know what happens, Dart. I feel like these guys, the players in this team are. Have you seen that movie? What's the Will Smith movie where he's acting with this kid? It's about San Francisco. Jeez.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Someone in the chat will mention the Will Smith movie. It's a little bit older. He's down on his luck. And it just seems like nothing is going our way, and we keep trying harder and harder. We're buying self-help books, and we are joining. We're getting a therapist. We're getting a fitness trainer, but no matter what happens, we can't seem to get over the hump, right? And it's like this somber, sad music, like violin playing in the back constantly, and all of us that are watching, we're waiting for it to get better, right? We're waiting for the coming of age story where the main protagonist finally figures it all out and it's a happy ending. But it just seems like a sad movie from start to finish. And I can't, everything we try seems to go against us, because if you look at the players in isolation, right, there's a case to be made that they have something to offer us moving forward. Like Dorgu is an athletic left back that has shown us in glimpses that if he keeps playing and keeps improving, he can actually make something happen. But the problem is that we keep dropping, like, let's say 4 or 5 players in every game have like a sub 5 out of 10. So any other player making an extra mistake leads to a goal or leads to us losing the game, which means there's no room. Like nobody is playing, like not enough players are playing well enough that the players that need to improve can actually come in and improve, right? Because if you watch Isak, right? Isak played a few games for Liverpool. He didn't score right away. Ekitike, okay, he scored right away. But look at Wirtz, right? Wirtz came in for 120 million euros. And He's had the benefit of playing with Salah, who's doing the work for him.
Yeah.
He's had the benefit of Van Dijk, who's doing the work for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, Allison in net is a great goalkeeper, and they've had so many other players that are having good games, so that the focus isn't on Verts, right? He can just focus. He can just focus on getting better and slowly betting into this team. That same player comes into United, and we are all over him. The media is all over him. Everyone's all over him. Look at Sheshko. The same things happened to him, right? And look at Mbumo as well. And Mbumo went back to his training ground and basically saw the same game he's experienced for the last 4 years. Just he was on the wrong team.
Yeah.
Right. So
Exactly.
I cannot make heads or tails of the situation. We just seem like a cursed club. Like I said, buying, self-help books, hiring a therapist, going through their second divorce, right? And it's just no matter what we try, we are back to square one every single time, and I can't make sense of it. Maybe you can illuminate me and tell me that there's light at the end of the tunnel here.
I think there was a couple things preceding the game immediately since we last talked, so yesterday or whenever it was, that worried me going into this game. And one of the ones was, like, I watched the whole press conference, the pregame press conference, and maybe he said it in there, I don't recall. But when I watched the back pages last night on Sky or whatever, whoever does that, the front page of one of the papers in England was Amorim saying, like, we've got to turn up every game, basically. Like, we can't have a letdown for these, like, non-Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool games. That was sort of the gist of the article. And I don't know if they were, like, extrapolating from what he said in the press conference or not. I can't recall every detail. But basically, that when I saw that, and they were talking about that as sort of, the last thing on air before I went to bed, that worried me because, that, of course, has been our pattern to play down and up to different teams since Amorim has come. But
that's been our pattern even before. But that's been our pattern even from before, because we would go beat what was it? I even remember under Ollie where he had a game or two to save his life, and then we went and lost to West Brom the next week. Yeah. Right? So we've been doing this for a long time. I feel like this is more of a modern player at United issue. And if you guys remember, this is going way back, I think more than 2 years ago, I made a video saying why United will never win the title with Marcus Rashford. And Dart, maybe you were not following the channel back then, but some people in the chat might remember that video. And you can still find it on my channel. It got like 90,000+ views, and I basically said we will never win the league with Marcus Rashford as our best player. And
that makes sense.
And of course, things have played out in a way that is favorable to my take. But but my point is, overall, I think Bruno is in the same boat. Bruno being our best player, is putting a hard ceiling to how good or bad we can be. And I'm ready to see the back of him, not because he's not a good player. He just scored his 100th goal. He's done great things for this club. And honestly, if we had more players standing up to the plate like Bruno did, and have, a high standard for himself like Bruno did, we'd be in a much better place. But that's a conversation for another time. For now, we should just get rid and move on. Get rid of Maguire, get rid of Shaw, and bring in some new players. Even if we bring in some young players and we're not spending a lot of money on them, I'm okay to accept a situation where we are focused on finishing 8th or 10th, right? Because I can't take this expectation of spending 200 million and constantly missing out on the expectation.
I think it's something that worried me too when the game first started, because we've been starting, the one sort of thing you can look to be like, so far this season anyways, was that we started most games really fast and we were putting pressure. Obviously the Chelsea game creating the red card, but even in the Fulham game and stuff, we should have had 3 goals probably in the first half. Against Arsenal, we looked really good starting. We were stretching the field and so forth. Dorgu got loose on the left where he hit the post and all that. Today it seemed like it was just so bleeping slow. Like it was just slow, like just methodical, like the worst version of last year, where you're just moving it around.
It reminded me of Van Hal football a little bit. Because
Yeah.
there was a specific minute. I think I even marked it in my show notes. 58th to 59th minute. There was a spell of 2 minutes in the second half where we're down 2-1, and we
Mhm.
have all three center backs inside our own half, almost 15, 20 yards away from the highest Brentford player. Like, why are we sitting that
Crazy.
deep?
Yeah.
Why the hell are we sitting that deep? Why do we need to give them so much space and so much respect when we didn't do that in the
Yeah.
first 20 minutes? Like, in the first 20
Yeah.
minutes when we conceded the two counterattacking goals, we should have been a bit more scared and not left Maguire as the last man, which is exactly what I said we shouldn't
Yeah.
be doing.
Yeah.
And guess what? We did exactly that. And then when we need to go score a goal, we're waiting till the last 10 minutes to actually, get to the edge of the box and try to make something happen. By that point, we have like 7 attackers on the pitch. I mean, I don't even know what was happening, right? So,
Right.
listen,
Yeah.
Dart, I appreciate your thoughts. We have like 5 other callers waiting. So, really
Yeah.
quickly, do you think Amorim's getting sacked?
No, I don't think he will actually. I may be completely off base, but I feel like they are going to stick with him unless we end up in like, a run of like 8 or 10 games and we're obviously going down, or, in danger of really going down or whatever, which we're kind of are right now. But I feel like unless it's like super drastic by Christmas, I don't think he's getting canned, because I don't know if this is really that big of an, obviously he's the easiest one to change. You're not going to change the players and whole hog or whatever you want to say. But yeah, I don't think so. I think they have this, they're trying to see this vision through. And I don't know how much of a difference, because the danger to me is, and I hate to say this, maybe we need to go down, but it's like, I feel like the danger.
I'm not ready
is,
for that. It's too early in the morning, Dart. I'm not ready for that yet. We'll do that in the next call.
Yeah, I feel like the danger though is to change it, and we get the same. Yeah, people might be like, okay, if we change it and we're mediocre, that's better than this. But I think that's the danger. Is like, we've been mediocre for more than a decade now since Ferguson left, and we've changed a bunch of managers and it's produced more of the same.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing that draws me to Amorim more than like, whatever fucking system he plays or whatever, sort of, pardon my language, is that he's trying to change the culture. And like you said, with
you
that
like the
Rashford
personality.
thing,
Yeah, you like the personality, you like the
and
man.
the standards.
Yeah,
the standards. Like it was obvious him sitting in the dugout right after half. I was watching very closely when they came out of the tunnel and stuff, and he went and sat in the box. He was looking down and shaking his head from left, because he almost. Well, I think that's what happened.
By the way, that was for the penalty as well. For the Bruno penalty, he wasn't looking again, which is a problem.
Yeah, he doesn't like that.
He needs to work on that. But anyways, Dart, appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I'll move you to the waiting room. I might have like a group discussion towards the end if you want to wait. But okay. Great call again, and it's Saturday morning for us, so I know you can wait. just wait for your breakfast a little bit later. Cool.
Cheers.
See you in a bit. All right, that was Dart. Let me just read the chat a little bit. Yassine's put a bunch of stuff in here. Looks like he's pretty pissed. He said, we conceded 2 goals within 35 minutes. 2 goals within 20 minutes, mate. And he only made subs at the 65th minute. I wanted Amorim to succeed, but we can't accept these results. Aditya says, Dallo as well. Get rid of them. Yeah, San Francisco. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna get the other people in. I'm sorry about that. Let's get Anoop into the call. Hey Anoop, you're live on Footy with an Edge. Go on, give us your reaction to that game.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, congratulations on your monetization. That's a great achievement. Not many have the courage to start a channel with creating content like you do, and I've loved your content ever since I came across the channel.
Thank you so much.
And that said,
appreciate that.
Yeah. That said, it was a horrendous game. Believe me, I don't know. I don't know what to say. There is lack of intensity at the back. There's lack of intensity in the middle, and our forwards didn't have a great game. So somebody else has to step up. This team just looks like complete set of strangers on the pitch, and it's hurting the team very badly. I don't know the way to fix this, but I believe there could be it was a bad strategy from Ineos in the summer not to address the midfield issues, especially when this system calls out for heavy demands in the midfield. Today, I think we lost out on a lot of duels, and I've said this in the previous time when I called on the channel as well, that if you're losing duels, it's a high risk, high reward game. Both
Yeah.
Amorim and Ten Hag play a high risk, high reward game. If you're losing out on duels, you're bound to pay the price. I mean, we can talk about the system, the manager, or whatever, but can anyone here in this channel or whoever comes over can promise me that if we go for a back four manager, this is going to get any better?
Yeah.
Because the last four managers were all back four managers. What
Yeah.
is it that we see that suddenly we go into a back four? Let's say we go 4-2-3-1. Okay, and there were calls for going 4-3-3 because this team suits 4-3-3. Have you even seen 4-3-3? It gives me PTSD about the days when
Ten
Oli
Hag.
went 4-3-3.
Also Ten Hag,
If
by the
you
way, when Ten Hag got sacked, he was playing the 4-3-3, and
exactly right,
yeah.
yeah. So
The
if we go
the
4-3-3,
overall problem, sorry Anoop, the overall problem that you're bringing up, which is a good point, is even when we played the 4-3-3, the issue was we were playing Casemiro plus one other midfielder who was getting involved in the attack. Like Mainu, he would get forward, or Eriksson would get forward, and Casemiro had to cover half the pitch by himself. And we're gonna have the exact same problem again, whether we play a 4 at the back or 3 at the back. The long and the short of it is that we have a midfield issue. We have not invested in our midfield in the last 10 years. It's literally the weakest part of our team. We played McFred for so long. I think Pogba was the last big signing we made in the midfield. And can you imagine we actually let Ander Herrera go on a free transfer? When
yeah,
midfield has
I
always been our biggest problem.
I agree. I agree. You know the difference. I was looking at some old Van Gaal games who also played a back three. We weren't losing any games. We weren't scoring, yes, but we were not losing games. The only reason difference was because we had a more competent midfield in that under Van Gaal.
Mm.
So maybe this is fixable. Someone has to speak some sense to the board that look, you should have not have ignored midfield. Just bring a couple of strong midfielders in January. Whatever it
Yeah.
is, you go within the Premier League, go to Brighton if you want to buy Baliba or Anderson from Forest. I don't know who it is, whoever the club has. I need somebody who has legs in midfield who will run the shit out of the other team.
Yeah.
Brentford just played through the midfield all day long. I cannot believe, I heard the previous caller talking about how bad we were on counterattacks. For him, who is his other choice? Let's say we pick Euro, we'll probably concede 3 goals from set pieces again. You made a point, right? Euro is good on counters.
Yeah, exactly. So my point was that either Maguire or Euro, we have one problem or the other problem. And Brentford, let's not forget that Brentford promoted their set piece coach to be the head coach. So what were we expecting from this game? That they were going to try with set pieces and they were going to try to beat us on the counterattack. And our press is not good enough to cause them to make mistakes in the build-up. I mean, if we look at the possession stats, they had 44% possession, but in the first half it was even, and most of the second half it was even as well, till we were only focused on attacking, so they sat back and defended. In that game, we didn't win possession, we weren't better on the counterattack, and we weren't better on set pieces. So what are we supposed to do, right? How are we supposed to win that game if we can't beat them in any single way? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Exactly. I don't think it's possible with this set of players. You need some stronger players you have to buy some stronger players who will win their duels. Like the first goal was a direct. Brentford goes direct. And even Amorim made a comment in his presser that they had all worked on it all week. And yet, Maguire tries to play the offside trap. How stupid, man. Seriously, you cannot really, you can put in a system. Any manager who comes in can put in a system, but he cannot really teach these little things to the players. Decision
Yeah,
making on
and
the
he's
pitch.
supposed to be a leader. He's the former captain of the club. We still did pay 80 million for him. He's an England international. He should make better decisions than that. And Thiago, wasn't even playing for Brentford till last season. He's been in their team for a while now. He wasn't even playing for them. He's a 24-year-old Brazil international who's really only got his chance this season. So what are we actually doing here, right? Anoop, we have a few more callers in waiting in line, so
Absolutely, no problem.
I'm gonna get your final thoughts here. Tell us if you think Amorim will get sacked, regardless of whether you want him to get sacked or not.
Look, I'm okay with the board sacking the manager, but they need to promise us that they'll bring in a back four manager or a back two manager and make it work. I don't
Yeah.
have that faith. I might have the faith with the board that they have the best intentions, unlike the previous one, but I don't have any faith that sacking this manager will solve the issue, because I believe manager is a low-hanging fruit, and he's not might be the part of the problem, but he's not the problem. And sacking him won't solve the solution, the problems that we have.
Yeah. Very well said, Anoop. And I tend to agree with you, but let's see what the rest of the chat says. Looks like on the poll that I have now, it's about 50-50, right? We've had 90 votes and about 50-50 in terms of getting him sacked or not. But thanks for the call, Anoop. I'm going to move you to the waiting room. If you want to wait till a bit later, I can bring you back in later for more of a group discussion. Cool. Thanks a lot, Anoop.
Yeah.
All right, let me read some of the chat quick. Spliz says, poor team side, what a waste of a watch. Some people want quick fixes and think decision needs to be made. As an engineer, it feels logical. Finish the rebuild first, then judge the manager. I honestly, that's a great comment right there. Off meta Ben, if you want to join the call-in show, I can bring you in. Let's hear your thoughts, because that's a great point. I think sacking the manager, even Anoop said something amazing there. Sacking the manager is low-hanging fruit. We constantly keep reaching for the low-hanging fruit, and we don't go to the root cause of the issue, right? It's almost like we keep getting injury after injury. We're getting cuts on our hand, cuts on our feet, and all we do is band-aids instead of thinking, why am I getting these cuts in the first place, right? Am I doing something wrong? Should I be more careful when I walk around, right? Should I not use a knife because I'm not suited for it? Like, we're not thinking through the root cause of the problem. Sacking the manager does not address the root cause. Cool. Let's bring in Wayne. Hey Wayne, how are you? You're live on Footy with an Edge. Go on, introduce yourself and give us your thoughts quickly.
Hello, hi. Yeah, I'm Wayne, and I'm from the Philippines. This country is not big on football, but yeah, I'm a fan of United. Maybe since around late 2000s, where we are.
Nice to meet you, Wayne. And appreciate you calling in and appreciate the super chat as well. And I think you are our second caller from the Philippines, or maybe it was. I think you are the second caller who's called in from Philippines. We had one person before.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, give us your thoughts, because I'm trying to find the positives here, and some of the callers before you have been positive and have gone through some positives. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess first and foremost, like I think, yeah, they are improving from last maybe from last season, but I don't see it good enough. I think, I guess, yeah, changing and tweaking formation. I mean the players in the formation is a bit hurting, and for me, Bruno is not it in the midfield. I saw the game as well, and then yeah, Ugarte and Bruno doesn't seem to be solid enough, because I think we're being decimated in the midfield, really, if you ask me. And then I saw like maybe the back three, like we have numerical advantage in the back three when we go up front, but maybe it's too much numerical advantage, if you if you get what I mean, because there's always a spare man which doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
If it goes into attack, then maybe Euro in the late 8 minutes, it's a bit better. But I guess losing the ball, then like
Yeah.
yeah, like the defenders are a bit on the low side of things. Like they're not the quickest ones. So
Yeah.
it's
No,
It's a bit of a shame that
I agree with you, because the problem we seem to have is we went through Ten Hag, who was a high risk, high reward manager, just like Anoop, the previous caller before you said. And we've brought in another manager who plays a different system but has the same philosophy of high risk, high reward. And as I've analyzed before on the channel, his system is very, very attacking, right? He even wants his center backs to go become the fullbacks when we're attacking, which means there's only one man left behind, just like Maguire was today. And it's in such an attacking system, you you have the other issue of our players switching off, right? I haven't watched the goals back, but I'm pretty sure the cutback for the second goal came from the right hand side, so that's Dalot's side, and that's also the side where I think De Ligt was. So I'll have to watch that back to see whose mistake it was to allow the cutback in the first place. But obviously, then Binder makes the mistake. So a lot of the mistakes today, which is Maguire being poor on the counterattack and Binder being a crap goalkeeper, are down to Amorim's decisions, right? On the larger scale of things, obviously, the board has to be blamed, and we have to take a look at, hiring the manager and not backing him, and then, hanging him out to dry. But Amorim has to hold some accountability for that loss today, and it's just more frustration every game week. Even last week, we had a chance to play the game in a way that we could get an easy win. We end up getting a red card ourselves and make it very difficult for ourselves. In this game, we go 2-0 down in the first 20 minutes from their first two attacks, and we're sitting there playing from the back foot and making it super easy for Brentford. It never seems to be going our way, and I don't know really what we should be doing. So, Wayne, give us your thoughts real quick. We've got some other callers as well waiting. Do you think Amorim is getting sacked? Do you want him to get sacked, and do you think the board will sack him?
I guess for me, if this keeps going, then they have no choice but to sack the manager. But if you ask me, they need to somehow support this one because I think he doesn't have the players that he wants, especially in midfield and in defense. So I think it's like when you're cooking food and it's not yet cooked, then you change the the food, then you don't get good food, if you get me. Like
Yeah.
I think it needs time, but I guess with the stature like United, you get battered by the media day
Yeah.
in and day out. But it's too much. But I guess if this is just a small club, uh, no disrespect to other clubs, but yeah, if they don't have that much attention, they can spend more time like building the team. I guess it's a hard decision for the board, but for me, I think don't sack the manager. I guess the mistake that they have is that they didn't have the plan to somehow put this together. Like they just take chances in the market, which is maybe because of the money as well. But yeah, I guess this is where
Yeah.
we are, and then we just
Yeah.
have to
Right.
somehow
Right.
get through
That
this.
that
I
makes
think.
sense, Bruce. I think, as difficult as it might be to think about this, the worst is yet to come, guys. We could actually find ourselves being in the relegation zone, right? 18th, 19th, or 20th
Yeah,
before things
exactly.
get
Yeah,
better.
with
And the question is, do the board have the mettle to stay strong while that happens? Do the board have do the fans have the mettle to stay strong with Amorim? Because despite everything we've seen today, most everybody that actually every single caller that's come on, they've said, don't sack Amorim. That's not the solution. We should look for something else. And how long will that positivity last, right? So I guess only time will tell. Wayne,
I
thank you
guess
so much
one
for.
more thing,
Yeah, go
like
ahead, go ahead.
sorry to cut you off, but I guess we need players with more athleticism. I think. I guess
Yeah,
it's now the name of the game. Like the game is more faster now. Like it's more
yeah.
somehow combative
It's more
compared
direct.
to
It's
like
more
years
direct as
ago.
well. Yeah,
Exactly. Like way back when Pep was running through the Premier League, they are getting technical players, but now being technical is not enough. Like
yeah.
you should be like large and strong, and then to cover a lot of grounds. Yeah,
Yes,
I guess
correct.
that's the last point that I wanted to bring to the
Yeah,
table.
yeah. No, great. You smashed it, Wayne. Thank you so much for the call. Thank you so much again for the super chat. I really appreciate it. It's Wayne from Philippines, guys, getting his thoughts in. And Wayne, if you want to call in again sometime, we have a call-in show 3 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So please give us a shout.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Will do. Will do.
Thank you.
And good luck.
All right. So that was Wayne from Philippines. We have Anton, who's been waiting for a while. We also have Bookly7 and CBMUFC both waiting in the waiting room. So I'm going to get an Anton first and then you guys next after that. Let me just read some chat really quickly. Randall Krause says, no one has brought up Ralph Rangnick. He laid it out what's wrong with this club. Open heart surgery. As long as we have owners who want profits over results, it doesn't matter who we have as players or who we have as a manager. Okay. Go get a top-rated German manager and let him work. Imagine if Ralph and Amorim worked together. I think that a lot of us are also tired of having our manager getting changed so frequently. Ralph should have been allowed to stay. He built all the Red Bull clubs. Look, great points. I really long back ago, before the channel even took off, I said I was very excited by the signing of Ralph Rangnick. I was very excited that we got him to the club, and I thought he was going to do great things. And he showed a lot of promise. He was saying a lot of the right things, just like Amorim is saying a lot of the right things now. But the problem is, if things get bad enough, everyone are going to call for him to be sacked. Everyone's going to be Amorim out before the club turn a leaf and actually become successful. So can the board actually just ignore the fans and continue to be in a situation where they are saying, no, we believe in Amorim, we haven't bought him the players, so he deserves more time, he's not at fault here? Is that going to happen? Or are they going to say, listen, Inos is getting too much flack, Glazers are getting too much flack, the club is getting too much flack, so we're just going to sack him? CBMUFC says, Anton has also been waiting for a while, so I'll get you in right after him. Sorry about that. Anton, sorry, Sai, how are you? You're live on Footy with an Edge. Thank you for waiting. Thanks for being patient. Go on, give us your thoughts on this game.
Hey, Andy. Yeah, first of all, congrats on the monetization. Next is want to talk about the game a little bit. First 20 minutes, right? We considered 2 goals. The first goal, I think we already predicted this in your earlier. You have spoken about how fast Kevin Shada is and how we are going to have a problem with Maguire. But not having Maguire is also going to be a problem because of their set pieces.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, right, it's like basic schoolboy defending, if you ask me, for the first 2 goals. Maguire, he was, I know he's not as fast, but he could have been little more smart. And even for the first goal, right, if you're going to give a Premier League quality striker that much free time, just a free shot on goal, it's going to be a good one, because he doesn't have any pressure on him. There is nothing he has to worry about the defender getting a block in, nothing, right? So he could have just fallen back without thinking about, putting him on an offside trap, just fall back with the shortest path to the center, and the striker has to go diagonally, right? Just keep yourself in between
Yeah,
the striker.
and to be fair, for that goal, it's not like he was a million miles away from Thiago when he took the shot. So if instead of playing the offside trap, if he just runs back with him, he probably at least makes it difficult for him to get the shot off. And the strike and where he put it, he put it literally in the top corner. If you put even a little bit of pressure on him, maybe he doesn't put that in there, right?
Well, yeah, just that bit of hesitation, right? Just having that confidence in you that you can just do this, avoid this situation. That's just very disappointing to see from your center back, whose task is basically to just avoid this one-on-one counter attack. In this system, there are going to be one-on-ones like this, right? The other team striker is going to be on your last man, and that's your primary job. And unfortunately, we don't have anyone who fits all the things to do
and by the
one-on-one.
way, Maguire is the most senior center back we have. He has the most international caps. He was paid the most money when we brought him to the club. He was the captain of the club as well. And everybody seems to be on this Maguire redemption arc, but we seem to forget. He seems to keep reminding us how shit he actually is. Because when he does the basics right, we tend to praise him. And when he gets the basics wrong, which he should always be getting right, we don't want to criticize him as much as he deserves. He was at fault for the first goal, arguably for the second one. He lets Thiago get behind him, right? He should do better with that. And in general, he just had a bad game. And the problem I have is sometimes, when you're watching like a scary movie or something, right? And you're seeing like a mental asylum, and the kids are like, oh, maybe we should go in there and see what's happening. And you're just sitting there as the viewer being like, why do you guys keep making the dumbest decisions? Of course you got killed, right? And that's what happened in this game. It's the scary movie that I called out in my match preview, and I said Maguire is going to get beat on the counterattack, and that happened, right? And then he brings on Euro, and we aren't that much better. And we even with Euro on the pitch, we lost to a counterattack goal. Okay, the last one, like we had, we had 10 players in the Brentford box, and at that point, Bayern should just do better with the shot. But it's predictable stuff happening week in, week out. And I'm afraid that despite everybody being positive and wanting Amorim to stay, that it's inevitable that he gets the sack.
Yes. See, a lot of other people have gotten the job because of Maguire around it for way too less. Like De Gea left the club, and Ole had lost a lot of games because of Maguire being there. And it's like even for the second goal, right? I just want to talk about that situation. It was like a 2v2 situation. De Ligt should have won the header there, right? And you have two tall center backs against their Shada and Thiago. So De Ligt should have won the header. He missed the header. And then, okay, it's a 50-50. Sometimes you can miss the header and you expect your teammate to cover for you. Where again, there is a hesitation, like whether should I go for the tackle or should I just stay back and, block the cross. He did not do either of those two things correctly. He was in the middle and he did not go for the tackle. Neither did he block the cross. And then Bayern had to get out and, stop the cross. And okay, Bayern is not a great goalkeeper. Been making all these mistakes, but at some point, our defenders also need to take the blame, right?
Yeah, it's a good point, Anton, because look, if we look at Bayern today, right, let's see, how many saves did he make? He made 5 saves today, and the expected goals on targets that he faced was 2.82. So we should have conceded 3 goals, and we did concede 3 goals, right? And even if you look at the big chances, at one point we had 6 shots faced, and all 6 of them were big chances.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and they converted 2 of them, and the last one wasn't a big chance. He just scored from outside the goal. So Bayern was at mistake for 2 of the goals today, but he also saved us from probably 2 others going in.
Yep, exactly. See, after the first goal went in, before the first goal went in, right, we were kind of dominating, not as much as we should have, like we did in the Chelsea game or the Arsenal game, but still we were dominating. After the first goal went in, right, for around 6 or 7 or 8 minutes, there were corners, there were throw-ins, we were conceding stupid fouls, and it was inevitable. The second goal was coming, and over there, Bayern actually helped us with 2 or 3 crucial saves just to put that pressure, just to hold back and hold on to that pressure. See, for the first half, all we needed to do was hold off the pressure from a 17th place team like Brentford, keep the score at 0-0. That's all we needed to do. In the second half, they would concede to us. Our attack is much better than theirs, right?
Yeah.
It's a simple thing. Players need to be smart about it. Manager, I mean, if we are talking about simple things like this, we expect professional players to have that head right on their shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. When are the players going to take some accountability? Because the manager could be telling Bayern to concede 2 goals every game, but should he be conceding 2 goals every game?
Exactly.
Right? And he could be telling Maguire, hey, you know what? You should play the offside trap when it's obvious that it's not going to be offside. And should he be doing that? He knows better, right? Because at the end of the day, we praise Sir Alex Ferguson, and rightly so, for all the success he got over 25, 30 years. But if he didn't have good players playing for him, there would be a hard ceiling to how good he could be, right?
Yep.
And the we call it Fergie time, and rightly so. But it's the players that scored those goals, right? So it was technically player time as well, because they stood
Yes.
up to the plate and they actually executed on his plans and made it happen. But Anoop, great call again. I'm going to move you to the waiting room, and maybe I can get you back in later for more of a group discussion. But we have a few more callers waiting in line, so I'm just going to get them into. But great call, and thank you for joining again.
Cool. Awesome.
All right. Cool. I'm going to get in CBMUFC. But before that, we have a super chat that I missed from a long time ago, and I'm so sorry. Rishi said, along with 2 wingbacks and 2 center mids, we also need to replace Shaw, Maguire, and Licha because they're slow. Can Inos deliver 7 players in one window? Doubt it. I mean, that's a scathing point and one that I can't disagree with. The problem we have right now is every other week, a new player looks like shit. And I can't avoid, if anybody today wants to come and tell me that, hey, De Ligt's not good enough in the long run, I would say, listen, he had a good game. He's been good so far this season, but can you point to 2 or 3 mistakes he's made in this game? Probably. And can you make a case for a better center back being out there that could play in this team? Probably. But it is harsh, right? And how many more games till De Ligt is the one that costs us the game? And then we're saying even our most consistent performer is not doing well, right? So it's a very frustrating place to be right now, and I want to hear from more of you guys. We have lots of guys waiting in the call-in show. Let's hear from CBMUFC. He's also been waiting for a while. Hey CB, thanks for your patience. You're live on Footy with an Edge. Go on, introduce yourself and tell us where you're calling from.
My name, just call me Jacob, and I'm calling from London. You can tell by my accent. I didn't want to zoom in on today's game too much because, to be honest, if you ask me, I expected the season to go like this ever since the Europa League final. I just want to firstly say to everyone that, okay, of course we're not overreacting, but I want you lot to see the nature of the Premier League right now. Like, I'm watching the 3 p.m. games. Palace are absolutely smothering Liverpool. You saw what happened with Brentford last week with Chelsea, 2-2. Yep. They struggled over there. With us, with Fulham, it's the small things that count. You know what I'm trying to say? Chelsea went to Fulham away the other day and they scored a penalty and a set piece. You know what I'm trying to say? 2 penalties that our captain has missed in the last 2 away London games. But anyway, for me, I really think this whole thing really started after the Europa League final. I feel like if we won the Europa League final, we would see a completely different Manchester United right now. But I feel like when we lost that final, I feel like Amorim had to flip a coin. You understand? So really, he really had to flip a coin of, should we bring in attacking talent to replace Garnacho, Haaland, because I think after the final, I think his plans were already messed up. You know what I'm trying to say? He put his belief on people like De Ligt, Maguire, Bruno. That's the reason why he spent the whole 250 million, whatever he spent on the 3 attackers. You know what I'm trying to say? I feel like if it was me personally, I feel like I would have built from the back. You know what I'm trying to say? In a system where it's so dependent on our centre backs jumping, our centre backs being main progressors of the ball. I feel like our wing backs being such attacking threats. I feel like me personally, I would have built from the back first. Yeah. I feel like that's most of the problems that we're seeing right now. I don't feel like any of the back 5 or even the goalkeeper, the centre mids, I don't feel like any of them are fit for purpose. I know De Ligt and Euro, they're good players. Euro's still a young player though, so he should be building with us anyway. De Ligt, he's probably at max for me, he's probably a bench player, a role player for the team. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. If we have it,
to give you some credit, right? I think what you're saying about De Ligt, right? And I want to make sure the people watching get this take right, because I don't think CB is saying that De Ligt is crap, he shouldn't be in this team right now. I think maybe what he's saying is... That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, I think what he's saying is that De Ligt's ceiling is not in a consistent top 4 team or a team that challenges for the title, right? And
or so anyway, a team that wants to play in this specific system, that our centre backs need to be the main progressors. They need to jump. They need to defend. I don't feel like De Ligt can be playing week in, week out, or none of these lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
personally,
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't feel like any of these lot would be playing in Amrim's perfect team. I don't feel like any of these lot would be playing, to be honest. Personally, I feel like this is how the season's gonna go. You know what I'm trying to say? We're gonna win some, we're gonna lose some. But from when our captain, I love Bruno so much, but from when our captain, is stepping up to the plate and 2 London away derbies, and you miss 2 penalties, unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It doesn't matter. And Bremo scored how many penalty goals last year? Coutinho hasn't even scored his first goal, and no one wants to think, okay, let's give it to him. If there's too much pressure on you, bro, you don't have to take it. You know, you don't have to take it. I just feel like a lot of the blame is going on Amorim, which it served right, because obviously he's the one who flipped the coin. But I just feel like from the beginning, from when we lost the Europa League, I just felt like putting our trust in all these players, Delo, Maguire, these lot are all players that have got at least 4 managers sacked. I don't know why we still put our trust. I don't know why we still put our trust in them. You know, I don't know why
Let's not forget. Delo was actually signed under Mourinho, right?
Come on,
the final
he
summer,
went out on loan.
Yeah, final summer before Mourinho left, Dallo was signed, and we signed Fred in that same summer. And Fred is long gone, and Dallo's still here. Bruno's still here, and we have all these players here, the senior leadership squad, so to speak.
Yeah, I still remember back in the, I don't know if you're an OG Man United fan, I hope you are, but in the Europa League, I remember when we were playing AC Milan when Delo went on loan there, and everyone was making jokes saying the loser keeps the low. Like, this guy, he's been a problem. He's only had 1 good season since the whole Mourinho, when he got signed with Mourinho. He's only had 1 good season, and these are the people that Amorim chose to put his trust in. So it's like, you know.
But to be fair, CB, CB, like, I don't know whether you'd agree, and you can give me your thoughts on this, but I think it was right to get rid of Garnacho. It was right to get rid of Anthony. It was right to get rid of Sancho. It was right to get rid of Rashford. So if he's gotten rid of that many players already, you can't just go in and say, I want to also get rid of Dallo. I want to also get rid of Bruno. You can't get rid of 15 players in one window,
but that's where you flip the coin, because bro, your system is so dependent on your centre backs doing certain things, your centre back doing certain things, your wing backs, to be specific, Dorgu and whoever they play there. To be honest, only person who's really served purpose there is Ahmad, and that's not his position. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, when you know all of that, because you see the XG is obviously, is that like we're not putting away chances anyway, and the way we play isn't good anyway, and the way we play is not dependent on Sesko or Højlund. You know what I'm trying to say? It's dependent on the core of the team, the actual core of the team. You know what I'm trying to say? We haven't touched the core of the team. We have not touched it. Who do we bring in this summer that will touch Lemens? Isn't it a red flag that Bayindir is going to carry on playing these games?
No, I think, to be fair, he's going to get benched for the next game. I think Lama comes in next game. Because
it's a red flag, though, because I don't understand how Lemens couldn't bench Bayindir.
I think it's more to do with the fact that he has just come into the Premier League, and let me give you another scenario, right, CB? And I appreciate your thoughts here. I think you are spitting facts. A lot of people are agreeing with you in the chat as well. But I'll give you an alternative here. If he chucks Lama in the City game, or he chucks him in the Chelsea game, which are the first 2 games since he joined us, and he makes a mistake, now you're in a position where we have three crap goalkeepers, right? So I think the right thing to do was wait for Bayindir to make a mistake, which he made 2 stinkers today.
He should have definitely started today.
No, but he made the mistakes today. But my point is, CB, that Bayindir also saved us probably 3 other goals. We should have probably lost that game 6-1, right?
That comes down to the centre backs, bro.
That's fair. Because let's stay on Bayindir for a second, though. Let's stay on Bayindir for a second. I think that as much as we want to single him out as the problem, the larger problem within the whole squad is that even if we let go of Bayindir and started Lamont today, we probably still get scored on by 3 goals. Because, like you said, it's the center backs, it's the center mids, it's the wing backs. None of them are good enough.
Yeah, none of them are. None of them are. And I was of the opinion that if Amorim could make it to next summer, which was maybe finish 8th, 7th,
Yeah.
you know, just make Europe, and we would be able to forgive him. I was of the opinion that Amorim would go, if he gets another 200 million, I think he would spend it well. He would go and fill in the plugs, and we would look like much of a better team. But at this rate, I don't see him getting to next summer. I don't see him getting to next summer. How much I wish he could, because I do see this system. What I'm watching Crystal Palace literally tear apart Liverpool.
Yeah, they're doing
at
super
home.
well, by the way. Just because you mentioned that, let me just pull up their game as well. It's Liverpool versus Palace, like CB just said, and they're winning 1-0, right? Palace is winning 1-0, and their stats look very similar. I know exactly. Their stats look very similar to what Brentford's did against us, which is they have 1.6 xG, 10 shots, 4 on target, and every single on target shot is a big chance, and they missed 3 of them.
Come on.
So they should actually be 4-0, like CB said.
Like people blaming Amorim's system solely. I don't understand it. I feel like, okay, Amorim, maybe he could have went the other way with his signings, okay, but regardless, the as you said, Garnacho, Højlund, all these people, Rashford, they had to leave. You know what I'm trying to say? So he's been backed into a corner where, like, it goes back to the board at the end of the day. If you didn't have the money to back the guy, why did you get him?
Exactly.
Why did you get him?
Exactly. And that's my point. That's my point, guys. In the chat, everybody that's saying we should get rid of Amorim, are you seeing the flaws of Amorim, or are you seeing that he's not been enabled to execute on what he's saying? Yeah, you're seeing the flaws with the players, and you're seeing the problem with the board not backing him. Because if he doesn't have his players, what good is any system?
Like all this, and even I see the Bruno discourse, the midfield. The midfield is only that open because our centre backs want to stay deep. You have to compress the team. Like, we've seen 3-backs play. Like, we've seen 3-backs win the Premier League. There's no point not even play in Europe. I'm talking about winning the Premier League. It can work. I don't know why people think, oh, Amorim system, it can work. I just feel like he went the wrong way with his signings. Like, he might, like maybe if he still brought in 3 attackers, but not 3 specialist attackers like that, so he could spend some. Like, I saw Hincapié, someone that nearly won a treble with Leverkusen, go to Arsenal for a 6 million loan fee and 40 million loan with obligation. Are you serious?
That's he's a really good player, by the way.
Why we're here playing Luke Shaw?
Is a really good player. Yeah, no, dude, you're making some great points.
Come on, bro.
You know, most people aren't really focused on the defense, but because I think you would also agree, it's not the worst area of our pitch. Our worst area of our pitch is probably right wing back and the 2 center mids.
Bro, to be honest, bro, I gotta disagree with you on that. Because I feel like, why is Amorim so insistent on playing 3 centre back if the 3 centre backs are not the most important part of the pitch? If that never changes, if that's the part that never changes, how could they not be the most important?
No. They are important, but my point is they're not the worst part of our pitch, because in my opinion, out of the 3 center backs, if you looked at the combination of center backs that we probably have at least 2 center backs that work in that system, right?
Yeah, I feel like we're missing Lissandro a lot.
We're missing the third center back, whereas both our center midfielders are not good enough. And one of our 2 right wing backs, the right wing back isn't good enough. I think left wing back.
But even Dogu, if you go and check the possession, the places where he's picking up the ball, he's doing nothing with it. With other teams, where Dogu's picking up the ball, guys like who? Like, name me some left wingers, you know, guys like Gakpo, or guys like
right wingers. I don't know, right? Yeah, right wingers, because
are picking up the ball. Are picking up the ball in that position, and Dogu's doing nothing with it. I'm not saying Dogu's not going to be a good player. He's still young, though. He's still young. None of the back 5 are fit for purpose. The goalkeeper's not fit for purpose. The 2 centre mids are not fit for purpose. They're not. Yeah, I'm trying to say, and it's beyond me. It's beyond me how you could just ignore that. It was a flip of the coin. That's why I describe it as a flip of the coin. Amorim hoped that maybe we were going to concede goals regardless, but Amorim hoped that maybe when we get in front of the goal, we're going to actually score. But when our captain is missing two crucial penalties that would have put us in the top 4. I hope you understand that. It would have put us in the top 4.
5 points ahead. We'd be on 12 points right now. Had we
Like,
had he scored those 2 penalties?
look at Liverpool. Have Liverpool played one good game this season?
No.
They scored a last minute penalty against Burnley. They're probably gonna go and score another 2 late goals now today, and they have not played well whatsoever. Everyone wants to blame the manager, but the Premier League is a tough league. You gotta take your chances. You have to.
Yeah.
That's what Amorim put his rest on, and it's not working, you know. And at the end of the day, these are the same players that sacked 4, 5, 6. Man, I can't even list them anymore. So I don't know.
At least 3 managers. At least 3 managers.
Like I don't know what we can do here. I don't think sacking Amorim is going to make this any better, because this was the same exact problem with Ten Hag. It was the same exact problem. Our centre backs dropping too deep, the space in the midfield. We don't have good centre back. We don't have good midfielders, and we didn't address it again. So it's like Amorim's operating with his hands behind him. I'm not saying what he did last season was acceptable, but he's operating with his hands behind his back. The whole team needs change, you know. And he tried to make sense of it. He tried to flip the coin, and it's not working. It's clearly not working. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. But what I will not do is blame Amorim. It's not his fault. Even though he has faults, it's not purely his fault. That's what I called today, because all of this discourse about Amorim, it's not fully his fault. It's more the board. Don't bring the guy if you're not going to bring the necessary players to play his system. Simple.
Yeah, great points, man. CB, you absolutely smashed it, dude. I think you know, people in the chat agreeing with a lot of the stuff that you're dropping there. And listen, thank you. I don't think there's one thing that you said that I could disagree with. Maybe the only thing I'd say is, you know, the focus on the center backs should be probably our second or third priority, because in my opinion, the right wing back is a big problem and the center midfielders are a big problem. And
both of them.
I have another question, but I'm going to keep it for the next caller because we have a few people waiting. If you want to stick around, I might pull you in for a group discussion. But it looks like today's going to be a long call because I definitely got the energy, and I think you've energized me a little bit as well. So thank you for your thoughts, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, see you soon. All right, guys. Great call from CB, and he's spitting facts there, right? Because if we weren't going to back the manager, then why did we sign a 3 at the back manager? Did Inos expect that he was just going to come in and revolutionize the league with the 3 at the back? Did we just think we were going to lose every game every week win every game every week? Because to be honest, last season Brighton finished 8th with 61 points, and we're in a position where we are 7 points from 6 games. And do we think we can actually go get 54 more points this season? Is that possible from 32 games? It seems difficult right now, but it's probably doable. So I think what this game today has shown me is that we have a hard ceiling, and I don't think we can get any better than 8th. Because if that's how we're going to perform week in, week out, forget the manager. I think we get relegated, right? Let's get the next caller in. We have Bookley7 here, who's been waiting for a while. Hey, you're live on Footy with an Edge. Go on, introduce yourself and tell us where you're calling from.
Hi there, I'm Ben. I'm calling from just outside London at the moment.
Hey, how are you? You said Ben?
Ben.
Ben. Okay, Ben. Nice to meet you, Ben.
Yeah.
Nice calling in from outside London. Go on, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about a bit more about Ineos and their decision making, their strategy, really, rather than the tactics. I'm not so interested in that. Yeah. First of all, I just wanted to mention it was their decision in the first place to transition from our 4-back to the 5-back system. So we've seen managers succeed with that. We've seen Conte win the league. We've seen Alonso last year. We've seen Glasner in the Premier League right now. Yeah. And this rebuild is clearly halfway through. And I just don't think we can judge Amorim at the moment before he's been given the system or the players for his system. One thing that I will say, though, is that if it is looking like relegation, we absolutely can judge him. That is not acceptable in any way. And people often talk about maybe let's get in a different manager, let's be a bit more pragmatic to win games now. But I think switching to someone who's a bit more pragmatic to get those points, you end up winning in the short term. But I think long term, you're not winning at all. You have a lower ceiling. Yeah, we might be fighting for top 4. And I think we just go straight back into that manager rotation we've been for basically all of my adult life now.
Yeah.
So I think the key is just we got to let the rebuild happen, and once that's complete, we can judge him. At the end of after the World Cup, Tuchel might be available. There's, like I said, Conte previously, Gazna, Inzaghi, all these
Some people want
managers
Pochettino as well. Some people want Pochettino as well, who might be available after the World Cup.
Yeah, I'm when he was at Spurs, I was very keen. I'm less keen these days, but I just think if you're transitioning to this five back system, and you've got all these other managers who are successful with the 5-back, the rebuild is then complete. And if at that point Amorim is not successful, then we can judge him. Then we can say, look, thank you very much. You've got us through this difficult period, but it's time to go. And we can give the keys to any of those managers I mentioned. And we don't have to go through this transition period we're going at now. Like, the fan-based division is insane. We've seen it. We see it in the chats. We see it from the pundits, all sorts. But, that was my reason for why I don't think Amorim should be sacked. But my main thing is more about Ineos' strategy here, right? Mm-hmm. They've come in, and especially in particular, I think the ego of Jim Radcliffe wanting to come in and having such over-ambition. We are a club that's in such a sorry state, and they want to appoint an exciting, ambitious manager. And I think Amorim is that. Liverpool were sniffing around him. City were looking at Ruben as well.
Looking at him, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is an exciting appointment. However, I think United, we just sort of overstepped a little bit. Like, we didn't have the squad that Liverpool had. We don't have the squad that Liverpool had. And so we can't just appoint a manager like Amorim and expect it to be all rainbows and sunshine. He's sticking to his system, and we don't have that squad. And that's why we're seeing such division at the moment. People don't want to let the rebuild finish because he's not doing a good job. Like, that's one thing that can definitely be said is he is not doing a good job.
I want to interrupt you there for a second because
of course.
You said something very interesting, that we have basically, in simple terms, let's say we're a 4 or a 5, but we're trying to get a supermodel, right? And trying to date a supermodel. And let's be honest, Amorim's not bad looking either. We've basically gone for the Rolls Royce on like a budget of a Fiat, right? And we can't what's it called? This 10 that we've started dating wants all these expensive gifts. She wants a trip to Thailand and wants you to shower him with her with gifts, and then we're not able to do that. So we're basically, writing checks that we can't cash, or all these metaphors that are coming to my head now.
Exactly. And I completely agree with that, because I think
the core of the problem is because something else you said there, which is another manager will come in and play counterattacking football, and maybe we get towards the top 4. I actually think the sorry state of the club that we're in right now, for us to be dreaming about Vision 2028 and for us to be thinking that we're going to win the league in 2028 and that's what we're prepping for, is laughable, right? It is absolutely laughable, because in my opinion, our goal should be to get into the top 4 in 2028. We'd do really well to get to even that, because the league is so damn competitive right now. Like CB said, the caller before you, Crystal Palace is beating Liverpool right now. Burnley's drawing 1-1 to Man City. No club has a sacred right to be in the top 4, and no club has a sacred right to win the league. Look at Liverpool. They were the most successful club in the 70s and 80s, and how long did it take them to win the league? And even then, they had the biggest competition that they've ever seen in terms of City during the same period as them. Otherwise, they could have won like 5 or 6 titles themselves if Pep wasn't here. So you're looking at a position where the club is dreaming, right? I mean, the fans are allowed to dream. You and I are allowed to dream. CB's allowed to dream. Sai, all the other callers, all the viewers, everyone's allowed to dream that we can win the league. But do we actually deserve it? Have we done the right things? We don't even deserve to be in the league based on the mistakes we've made so far. We're lucky that we have players
if I could just come off of that.
Yeah.
Just with you're talking about, like, we've come out saying we've got this target, 2028 target. Again, I want to bring it back to this ego that Ineos have of they want to be the saviors of this club, right? And they come out and are publicly saying we're going to win the league by this point. I just think, yes, it's nice to be ambitious. I'm an ambitious person, but I think you're sort of setting yourself up to fail in this situation, to be that ambitious, that open, when the results are already bad. It's not really worth it. And I think the same sort of thing comes across in our transfer business over the summer. We were very ambitious. We've got some great players, Cunha and Buemo Sesko. I'm happy with those players. They are fantastic players. But they are 3 players that we have spent big money on. CB alluded to it as well. We could have done with spending that amount of money on revamping the entire squad. You saw how Amorim was treated when he went to Sporting. The backing that he got was ridiculous. Not as much spending, but the turnover was ginormous. They completely revamped the squad to fit his system. And this is what you were saying with your supermodel, saying just then. Yeah. We don't have the squad for him to play his system. And I think that is why it's unfair to judge him. Yes, he's doing a bad job, but you can't judge him based on what he's got at the moment. We need to complete the rebuild. But I think some of this blame does lay at Ineos's feet. Going for these big transfers, these people are going to sell shirts, and I'm not trying to say that in a negative way. I think they're fantastic acquisitions, but everyone's talking about the midfield. Everyone's talking about the wing backs. And for the 5 at the back system, the wing backs are vital. You're looking at players like Munoz last year. How good was he when they won the FA Cup? For Conte, how important were those wing backs as well? Likewise for Alonso, Grimaldo. How fantastic is he? And we're looking at Dallo, who I've never liked, and people love to praise him for he's got a bit of passion about him, but he's not a wing back. Dorgu, I kind of liked. I'm positive about him, but he's not doing it when he gets on the ball. I'm sort of a wait and see. But
the
should have revamped
everything. Just really quickly on Dorgu, right? With Dorgu, we have let's say a slightly different flavor of the same problem we had with Højlund. Because we bought Højlund when he had barely played 1 season or half a season at Atalanta, and we expected him to come into this team and basically lead the line for a struggling Man United. And let's be fair, the fact that he even scored 15 goals in his first season across all competitions was a miracle, right? Because in the Champions League, if you remember, when Onana shit the bed, he scored like 5 or 6 goals in the group stage for us.
Don't tell me about that. I remember I was thinking he was going to win the Golden Boot in that competition, and we weren't going to get out the group.
Yeah. So you've been looking at supermodels for a while, I see, Ben. But I think for me, Dorgu, the issue is he's had a good season at Lecce, and people are expecting him to come in and revolutionize the team, right? What we need to realize is these players need time, and more importantly, they need other players around them to be dropping 8 or 9s out of 10s every week, so that if they have the occasional bad game, it's still covered up, right? Like look at Wirtz. They paid the 2 Premier League transfer records they broke in the same season, and both players have not set the world alight, right? And they don't get the blame because the team is doing well and the team is covering up for their mistakes. And that's what United has never done, right? Because we always get to a position where, Onana's the problem, right? Sancho was the problem. Antony was the problem. Rashford was the problem. Well, we got rid of all those guys and we still have problems, right? And now people will say Bayindir is the problem or Amorim is the problem. But the truth is we have 10, 15, 20 problems at a time. And we're trying to solve them all in the space of 2 years. And even with Baleba, right? I just want to get this off my chest. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I'm going to make a video about this in the international break that's coming up. I think we should stay away from Baleba because it's going to be another £100 million player that people are going to make fun of us with. And in my opinion, his head's been turned by the news of coming to United, and he's not even performing well at Brighton. What do you think is going to happen when he comes to United and he drops 1 stinker or has 2 bad games in a row, right? His confidence is going to be on the floor just like every other player. And the second thing with Baleba, nothing against him, but of course he's an African player, which means every 2 years he's going to play in the AFCON, right? Which means we're going to lose him for a big chunk of the season. And that's part of the reason why Liverpool only won 1 league under Klopp, by the way, because they kept losing Salah every other season. So that's a big thing that people are not thinking about. And everybody wants to be Baleba in, but I'm telling you guys, it's going to be trouble. I would much rather go for Elliot Anderson or Adam Wharton if we're going to spend 100 million.
I'm 100% on your side there. I'm a big Adam Wharton fan. I'm an even bigger Elliot Anderson fan after seeing his performances with England recently.
Ben, just
I'd much
give
rather
us your
those
thoughts
disappear.
on Elliot Anderson quickly. I need to go get some water. It's been an hour and a half on the stream. I need to go drink some water, but I'm gonna be right back, and Ben will continue with you guys for about 2 minutes here.
Yeah, well, I can't say I'm the biggest Elliot Anderson expert, only really watching him recently for England, but his footwork was to sort of get around the player at the near post and put it back for a nearly goal, I think, was fantastic. And he's one of those people that just has such an engine, up and down, working everywhere. And I never really thought that he'd be someone that I thought I'd be calling for a Man United move. But for me, him and Wharton are such fantastic players. I think you also have the advantage of, unlike Belieber, they're not going to go to AFCON. Unfortunately, I don't think we're in the position that Liverpool would have been, where they're, missing out on titles. We're nowhere near there. So maybe the calls of AFCON being an issue, they're not going to be as big of an issue for us.
No, but the point I was making, Ben, by the way, great points, and thanks for covering. The point I'm making is that if you're spending 100 million on a center midfielder, at least the goal for that signing is to say, we're going to have this guy in the team for the next 6-7 years where we're going to challenge for the league, right? That's the type of intention you're making. That's what Arsenal did with Rice, right? They only purchased him for that high a fee because they were saying, listen, we're going to be in a title challenge. This is a core part of the team, and we need him to play. If Arsenal had gone and spent that money on an AFCON player, there's no way they get even close to where they are now, because it's a big issue, right? You're missing a month and a half out of every season. And by the way, I'm worried about that happening to us because of Mazraoui, because of Mbumo. We already have African players in our team that could cause that problem. So, in my opinion,
I'd say I'm
South
a big
American
fan of
players,
a lot of the African
European players. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of a lot of these African players, and I think these are the players that can be winning you titles, but it really highlights when they go to AFCON how important depth is in your squad. We have a sort of starting 11 of, we're looking at probably 5 players that we're really thinking are sort of able to take us to that next level. Yeah, those front 3, I think we all believe in those. I think Bruno, some of us are starting to get a little bit more 50-50, and people can see that Euro is going to be there one day. But then you're looking at the rest of them and you're thinking, where is this? Once you've got the starting 11, we've also got to be thinking about the depth in the squad, which is why I think it's so important that we should not be making these huge money signings, the ones that we've typically seen from the Glazers. We see the managers get sacked, and then all of a sudden the Glazers put their hands in their pockets for the first time in a couple of years, and out comes a Pogba, out comes a Lukaku to appease the fan base. I don't think that has ever done anything good for the squad as a whole, other than to pacify us as fans. Oh, we're still big. We're still Manchester United. We're spending a lot of money on the best players when we don't have the best team. And it's the best team that wins the league.
Absolutely. Dude, I should just turn the show over to you, because you're saying a lot of the stuff that I have been thinking about, and this is absolute facts, right? Because everyone likes to say that, I think Rory Jennings came out and said that Slot's a better manager than Klopp, and I honestly wanted to report the video because, dude, Slot's come in from the Eredivisie, and he got handed to him 3 or 4 of the best 10 players in the Premier League. And the Premier League has never been more competitive in my life, in anybody's life that's watching here. And you're telling me that Slot deserves all the credit? Absolute bullshit, dude. Like, we had a bunch of teams that had down years last year. Obviously, Man City's going through their rebuild and all their players coming down to an end. Man City would have won the 5th title in a row if De Bruyne, Gundogan, and all these guys were a few years younger last year. Right, so don't tell me that Slot's the greatest thing since sliced bread, because he's looked good because the players have looked good. And I'll give you another hot take for everybody in the chat if someone wants to disagree with me. If Amorim took over this Chelsea side right now, he could potentially go win the league, because, like you said, he is the good manager, and they have wingbacks for days. They have center backs for days. They can make it happen. Yes, their center back depth isn't good. Their goalkeeper isn't good. But their squad is miles better than this United squad. And I don't want to hear any ifs, buts, or maybes about it. Because, listen, we could play Malo Gusto and Cucurella at right wing back and left wing back. I think that would solve some of the problems we're having with our center backs.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I think the wing backs are such a big issue.
If we had Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez in midfield, think about what Amorim could do with that team.
Oh, don't. It just makes me sad looking at our pairings and thinking it's so dysfunctional. Looking at Ugarte, who can't pick the ball up, then give it to Bruno, who's looking to play hero ball, which he's fantastic at, by the way.
Yeah.
He's not a dictator. That's why I love Wharton. I'd love to have Bruno further up, but you're looking at the players that we've just signed, and then you're thinking Bruno and Cunha, they're competing for the 10 if you play them there. So I completely understand why our midfield is in the situation it's in. And I think maybe that's an error that we sort of made in not getting rid of Bruno. And look, I will be first to hold my hand up and be like, I'm emotionally attached to Bruno in this squad. I didn't want him to leave in the summer. When I heard those calls from Saudi, I'm thinking, how can we do it without him? How can we do it without him?
Yeah.
But you look at Liverpool. I don't know, could have been 10 years ago now when Coutinho left. This could have been the Coutinho moment. If Coutinho stayed at Liverpool, would they have ever amounted to anything without that 140 million pounds they got for him? They wouldn't have had Salah,
to be fair, that's
Van Dijk.
I don't know if that's Barcelona being stupid or
it's Barcelona
Liverpool
being
making
stupid,
the right
sure.
call, because let's also shit on Barcelona while we can. They have helped Liverpool become one of the most successful teams in the Premier League again. And they've also helped Dortmund get to the Champions League final, by the way, because they paid 150 something for Dembele and then let him go to only go win the Ballon d'Or and win the Champions League for PSG. So, a moment of silence for Barcelona's transfer business. But I take your point, Ben. I think you're saying a lot of the things that I'm thinking as well. Great points all around. By the way, you have the voice to be on radio for sure. I don't know what you look like, but
thank you. It's very kind.
Yeah, you can definitely pull off a radio show. Really appreciate you getting in. There's a few more people waiting, so let's get them in as well.
If I could just leave it with one final point, if that's okay.
Go for it.
I'd just like to say, I alluded to, I think it's the ego of Ineos at this point and their transfers going for the high cost players and going for the really flashy manager that sort of got us in this situation where all of us fans are sort of fighting each other. But now I'm actually preying on Ineos's ego, that they are looking at themselves and thinking, gosh, this is our first appointment as a manager and we don't want to look silly here. This guy has to succeed. And so I hope that gives them enough patience to let him stay and let him succeed and complete this rebuild. But anyway, thank you for having me on.
Dude, that's a great point. Before you leave as well, I think that's a great point. I think it's ego that made him get him in through the door, and it's ego that will prevent us from sacking another manager. And one more thing I want to say while you're still here. If we sign Baleba in the summer, or we go for Wharton, or we go for Elliot Anderson, that will also be another sign of ego, because then it will be them saying one midfielder is going to solve our problems, whereas it is definitely not. We need to buy 300 million worth of midfielders in the next summer, just like we did with the attack this summer, and then I can see maybe some hope coming through. But Ben, you absolutely smashed it, man. I hope you can join again. Great thoughts, and I think everybody agrees with a lot of what you said in the chat as well. So
absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Some of the other callers if there's still time, I might bring you in later, but let's see. I'm also running out of words from my brain at this point.
I'm sure.
But yeah, appreciate it, Ben.
Yeah, you too. Have a nice day.
Cheers. All right, I'm gonna bring in a few people now because we have a lot of people waiting. We have Poppy, we have Gio, and we have Thabo here. Hey guys, I brought in three of you. I think all three of you are first-time callers on Footy with an Edge. Go on, introduce yourself, and tell us where you're calling from first, and then we'll get to our topic. Okay, I think somebody dropped out. But Gio, go on, introduce yourself.
Hey, Footy. So I'm Gio. I'm calling from Dresden, Germany. So big, massive Manchester United fan, and absolutely depressed, man. Absolutely depressed.
I think a lot of us are. I mean, I am feeling a little bit better with this call, speaking to a lot of people, but I hear you. It's grim.
Yeah, and it's like, you can see from the beginning itself why things are going wrong, and the people who are supposed to see these things are not seeing it. For example, in your last video, you're talking about why Maguire should not start the game, and exactly the same thing. and we just conceded that first goal because of that. And you could see why the system is not working, right? Like this two-man midfield thing, to me it doesn't work, mostly because of the kind of players you need in those two midfield. And maybe we can talk a bit about that. Like I've got this theory that like when you're playing certain number of players in one system, for example, if you have 3 defenders, like you can play like players who have got like a certain weakness. It's fine. Like you can play a Martinez who is not good in the air when you have 3 defenders. But when you have 2 defenders, you have to play defenders who doesn't have any weakness. And then that's kind of similar to when you're playing 2 midfielders, right? You cannot have players who has no weakness, right? Like, but we have that's the problem, right?
Yeah, but Gio, to be fair, all around the pitch we have players who have weaknesses. De Ligt is our best defender, but he's horrible on the ball, right? Maguire's a good passer, but he's too slow. And Luke Shaw is, a little bit bad at almost everything. So it's, to be fair, like all throughout the pitch, like CB was talking about our center backs not being good enough. And for me, I can't really make a strong argument to say that he's wrong, because he has some good points. Same thing with our wingbacks, right? Dorgu has the athleticism, and 3 years down the line or 2 years down the line, he's probably the best wingback for us. But right now, he has gaps in his game. Same with Mazraoui and Dallo. They're not attacking enough. They're not athletic enough to go up and down, right? Because if you remember when Chelsea won the league with a 3 at the back, they played Victor Moses and Alonso as their right wing back and left wing back. Victor Moses was one of the most athletic, high stamina players I've ever seen in the Premier League. And he made it happen on that right wing back role. And we don't have a player like that. You could argue Dorgu is a similar profile, but he doesn't have the experience. So all throughout the pitch, we have issues.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that like, yes, of course, there will be like players, you can say that there is weaknesses, but the thing is that I'm talking about obvious holes in their game. For example, Maguire, that's like, of course, the De Ligt is not a great passer of the ball, but that weakness is not even close to how slow Maguire is, right? Like this is what I'm saying. Like I think De Ligt can play in a 4-man defense, but Maguire, I have no hope. Absolutely no hope of him playing in a 4-man defense, because of course every time when someone runs at him, it's a problem. And that is the same with our midfield. Like you need players at least have certain basic things, should have the athleticism to play there, should have the defensive discipline to play there, which Bruno doesn't have at all. I've never seen a player, a midfielder with that horrible defensive discipline. He just sees something and he just always get.
Because he's not a midfielder, right? You're talking about 15 years of his career since he was in the youth team that he's been playing as a central attacking midfielder. The problem we have in the Premier League now is no team really plays with a cam, right? Most teams play with a flat 3 midfield. Like if you watch Newcastle, I have big, big admiration for Eddie Howe, because in the midfield for Newcastle, he plays 3 workman-like midfielders, right? He plays Bruno Guimaraes, he plays Sandro Tonali, and he plays Joe Linton. And all 3 of them very strong, they've got big engines on them, and they can make the right pass and move forward. And all 3 of them can both attack and defend, right? They're 3 box-to-box midfielders. The problem is the players like Bruno, the players like Mata, you don't really see many of them in the Premier League. Even City don't play with those types of midfielders anymore, right? Like David Silva's left, De Bruyne's left, Gundogan I think is still there, but he's also on the wane. Those types of midfielders don't really win you the league anymore, and that's what we need to realize. So for me, I that's why I don't think Baleba is the answer. Like he's a great player, but us signing Baleba almost means like, oh, this is the player that's going to be the difference between us winning the league or competing for the league, whereas I feel like we're so far away.
I agree. And one more thing is that can we even call Bruno a 10? Because the guy who signed him, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I remember that in one of his interviews, he was like, somebody was saying that, hey, Bruno is probably one of the best number 10s, and Ole said that he's an attacker. He's not like really a midfielder. He's an attacking player. So basically, we are playing, a 4-man attack, a 5-man defense, and 1 midfielder against 19 Premier League teams who play like 3 midfielders. Like, how can we even survive? Like, we are playing 1 midfield versus 3 midfielders. So that's the thing, right? Since Alex Ferguson retired, there have been, maybe I can count in one hands the number of games where we have controlled the game, right? Like, we haven't controlled a game. Like, I can't remember the last time we controlled the game. And to me, controlling the game is how you control momentum, right? Whether when you have the ball and then they have the ball. We have seen like players like Carrick and Scholes, they used to slow the game down when the opposition have the ball, when the opposition is trying to control the game. We never do that. I can't remember the last time when our team tried to slow the game down when the opposition is kind of like overloading our box, things like that. We just try to throw the ball, like try to pass the long ball. Bruno always do that. And that's stupid. Like, I don't understand that. And when we have the ball, when we are trying to dictate the game, we are never able to keep the ball in the opposition half for like 10 minutes straight. Why can't we do that? I don't know.
That's because we have serially underinvested in our midfield, right?
Yes.
Every other team prioritizes their midfield. Chelsea is playing 2 players that cost them 230 million euros, and that's their starting midfield every week. And listen, they're not like 10 out of 10 every week, but that's the quality that we're going up against. And the fact that we beat them last week was honestly complete luck, because Robert Sanchez got the red card, and who knows, that game could have also ended in a similar way. But we're in a position we are in now because we're not investing enough in the midfield, and that's a problem that the Inos has to look at, and they have to say, not only do we need more players in the winter, but we need to go seriously invest in the summer as well. But Gio, did you give us a name, by the way?
That's my name, Gio.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Gio, great call. I'm gonna let you go for now, and hope you can join again. Next week when we're doing the regular call-in shows on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. But smashing call. Thank you, Gio, first time caller.
Thank you so much, man. Bye-bye.
Thanks. All right, we're gonna finish off the call, and we're gonna bring in Ben, CB, and Dart. Because I wanna hear from you guys. Ben, you're back. CB, you're back. We've got 2 London folks and 1 Canadian on the show. This is the starting, like the beginnings of a bad joke, maybe. 2 Londoners and a Canadian walk into a bar, right? What happens? By the way, Liverpool just scored. Chiesa scored in the 87th minute. They're 1-1 now.
Yeah,
I think the answer to that joke is we're all really crying because we're all United fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they should be 3. They should have been 3-0 up, Palace.
Yeah, 4-0, probably, but yeah, let's see. Scouse bastards. They always get the last minute equalizer.
Yeah, kids is making a career out of this, second career out of these little cameos.
Let's not get more depressed here. Let's focus on our problems, which is starting and beginning with our players. Okay, so guys, I don't even know where to begin or where to end. We've been live for almost 2 hours now, and I've heard from all of you guys, and honestly, great calls from each one of you. What's next for Amorim? Do you have any hope for the Sunderland game? What happens if we lose big to Liverpool, which, by the way, I don't think is actually going to happen. It looks like CB dropped out. I don't actually think we're going to lose big to Liverpool, because those big games, we're up for it, right? It's more the Sunderland game that I'm worried about, and it's more, what happens if one of these games that we're not up for, we end up losing just as bad as Brentford or even worse? Because, listen, we could have lost by 5-0 today.
Yeah, if I'll take that, actually. I feel like we always look at these teams, your big games, and we're always up for it. And I think that, and one thing you could sort of praise the players. We are at such a level below all these teams, and yet we're consistently being able to compete. Sometimes put teams like Arsenal at the beginning of the season on the back foot. And you can praise the players for that. That's great work. But then when you spin it around and you look at these games, like you've just said there, Sunderland coming next, and you think, I don't know what's going to come out of these players, it becomes a big positive being able to rise to the occasions of these big games to actually being a negative. You don't know, why can't they get up for these smaller games? And it's something that frustrates all of us, I'm sure. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to react to that quickly, Ben, before I throw it over to you, Dart. I can't make heads or tails of it, right? Because you would think at this point the players have been humbled enough to realize that we don't stand a chance to call ourselves a Big Six club anymore. We've been humbled year in, year out, and these same players that we keep saying have sacked managers. You should have seen the cutback to the camera pan to Luke Shaw and Maguire at the end of the game, and they're both holding their heads in their hands, right? So these guys have seen it. They were there for the Liverpool 7-0. They were there for all the other embarrassing losses we've had, and you would think that they would look at games like Brentford and say, actually, this is a 6-pointer, right? And they would look at even the Sunderland game and say, literally, this is a 6-pointer. We finished 15th in the league, and these guys are technically at worst 2 positions behind us because they just got promoted. So when are we going to start looking at Brentford as a big game? Because factually, it is a big game. We're not this big team that we used to be. Dart, give us your thoughts.
Ooh, yeah, it's there's a couple of things I'm thinking. Certainly, as I watch this Palace Liverpool game too, that sort of draws like distinctions between us and like teams that are good.
Really quickly, Dart, I have a super chat from Rishi. I think he says, "How much yoga do you do to stay charged for 2 hours?" I actually don't. I do the opposite of yoga, which is watch United play. And it just stresses me out.
That keeps you nice and tense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it keeps me nice and tense. So I do this call to now, feel more relaxed. And I think I'm getting there, but we'll see. If you guys don't see or hear from me in the next few days, then there's something went wrong. But yeah, go ahead, Dart. Sorry, I cut you off.
No. I think it's two major things. And I think that's why Amorim is so, confused by what the things that happen is. I think we're just not good enough player wise.
Mm-hmm.
We have too many people who were carrying. Dallo. I don't think Dallo's ever Dallo couldn't make the team under Ferguson. He would have hardly, because even people like John O'Shea and stuff are like leagues ahead of.
Yeah, Wes Brown, Darren Fletcher,
Wes Brown,
all those players.
Yeah. He's just technically not good enough to be on the field. I mean, that really the sort of discount Batman and Robin team of him and Maguire, who caused the first goal, it was his terrible pass into Cunha that set that up, because it deflected. Cunha goes down. Nobody is on the ball. The guy is able to kick a long pass, and then Maguire makes a terrible decision, and then has the foot speed of like a bank safe, so he can't get back. And then it's a great finish, so like the keeper had no chance really either. But it's like those little things. It's like, I can't remember who, I was watching somebody, I think it was maybe Owen Hargreaves on a show or something, where he's talking about inches. If you watch Any Given Sunday, that movie, Al Pacino football movie, it's like when you add up all the inches, that's what determines the games.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's all those little things we do so badly, and like passing is a good example. We are terrible at passing. It infuriates me to see like even a normal pass get tipped or deflected by a defender that we're playing against, when it should be just like an easy rolling it to somebody or something. It's maddening. So I think the players are scared because the pressure is crushing down on them, so they play fearfully. Some of them, at least. I thought Cunha was very positive today. He could have laid it off for Bruno in that one instance where he took a shot. I don't think he saw Bruno. But his drive, like him driving into the box, is stuff we see more of, and same with Mbuemo too. But like, it's the people at the back who, you gotta set it up going all the way through the team. It's, I didn't really watch closely Ugarte today, how good or bad he was. But when everyone is so subpar and just seems virtually energyless, especially too, as I said in the original time I was on.
I think you make a really good point here, which is the players they have so much going on in their mind that they can't actually just take a breath and play football, right? And I think that's part of the reason why the players that are leaving United are doing better than they do at United. Obviously, we haven't seen much from Garnacho yet, but Rashford scored 2 goals for Barcelona in the Champions League because Rashford is objectively in the bottom 25% of quality in the Barcelona squad, right? Objectively speaking. And so he doesn't have any pressure on him. He's making the money that he wants. And all he has to do is when Lewandowski's injured or when Hansi Flick wants to play a slightly different system, he puts Rashford in and he can just play free-spirited football. Whereas at United, Bruno every week, and this is why I will never say a bad word about Bruno Fernandes, the man, is because he has played under so much pressure. Dude, I run this football channel, right, on YouTube. I have like 30,000 of you watching, whatever, subscribe to the channel, and a few thousand watching every week. I feel the pressure when I watch these games as soon as we have trouble, right? Because I start thinking, what am I going to say later? How am I going to explain this? How am I going to find a positive from this situation? Just think about how much pressure Bruno has to go through, man. I remember before the Europa League final, they were doing some videos of like fans. They did some content on social media where they had some fans record their messages to the players and they showed it to the players. And then they put that video out. And I think Bruno was almost in tears because somebody was saying like, you're our best player. You've always stood out for us. And, we've always fought the right battle. And he was almost in tears watching that because he knows deep down how much effort he's put into like, keeping his standards up. And he tries to do so much, right? In fact, my only criticism of him is he tries to do too much, right? Because he's trying to win the ball in our box. He's also trying to be the one who scores it. Excuse me, sorry. And you're in a position where every single player now, even Šeško, I think his life was probably flashing before his eyes if he didn't score that goal, right? From the 2 chances that he put against Kelleher, I thought did he even celebrate after scoring?
No.
He probably took a big sigh of relief, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly, because all the 007 stuff has stopped.
Well, I think he knew too that it was like, we're behind. Back in the day, like you wouldn't see Rooney and those guys celebrate just if they were behind. If they went down 2-0, which was rare, there was no way they were going to celebrate scoring the first goal. They would just pick the ball to the net, take it to the center, and keep going.
D'Artagnan, the one you just said there, Wayne Rooney, when he scored his record-breaking goal for Manchester United, that fantastic curling free kick, and Herrera runs up to him, screaming and shouting, celebrating that he's won the record. But we're not winning. So Rooney
was that against Palace? If I remember that, was that against Palace?
Can't remember who it was against, but I just remember the close up of the celebration. Herrera looking so excited, and Rooney he looked so unbothered. He ran back to the centre circle and started playing again. And even then, we weren't a good team at that point.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's about these are the standards that have slipped in this last decade. We've allowed this. You hear lots of stories from the former players, and granted, they were in a completely different era and a great patch of United football. But when I hear stories from like them uniformly, from like Carrick, Rio, Rooney, Giggs, Scholes, Gary Neville, everybody who's ever talked to them were on those teams.
Palace just scored. I'm so sorry, Dart.
Palace just scored.
Into deep point. Palace just scored. Let's go. Yes. Let's go. You can see it on the screen. Oh, by the way, guess who scored it as well? It's Eddie Nketiah. He's gonna pull out his Arsenal shirt.
Nketiah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Damn. All right. At least we have some positives, guys. We had to wait for 2 hours.
The Premier League is not easy. We still have to go to Selhurst Park.
Yeah.
We still have to go to Brighton. We still have to go everywhere. Like you know what I'm trying to say. We got to fix this, man.
That's kind of the problem, though. I think is like
By the way, guys, let's just take a step back for a second and look at it this way. United are 14th with the shit start we've had. Yeah, Chelsea are 7th, and they're only 1 point ahead of us.
And they have Liverpool next. Liverpool next,
which we have right after them. But yeah, I take your point. So
we can do this.
Yeah, we've come full circle, guys. We've gone through all stages of grief.
These players are playing, bro. We can't do it.
That's also the beauty of like not knowing who's going to turn up is like you could just turn up and beat a Crystal Palace or a Liverpool. Like we should.
It's Sunderland at home though. We have to win that game.
Yeah,
we have to, or that's going to sack him. I think that's going to sack him. If he loses that game, I think that will sack him.
Because let's be honest, if there's one thing Amorim has done is beat the relegation teams.
You get me?
And that's what he did last season. I think the 8 wins he had, I think 6 of them were against the newly promoted teams. So we have to beat Sunderland next week, and that's for sure. And we'll be at 10 points after that, but we'll still be like anywhere between 8th to 14th after we do that. So listen, the only thing that I can hang my hat on is for United. The fixtures after Liverpool get a lot easier. And when I say a lot easier, I mean they get a lot harder because I just said it earlier, CB, while you weren't part of the call. I said it earlier that United need to look at Brentford as a 6-pointer. We need to look at Sunderland as a 6-pointer because these are, let's not forget, Brentford finished above us in the table last year. So they are a team that we have to respect.
We haven't gone to the GTEC and won in like 3 years. I'll be honest with you. We have some bogey teams in the league.
Yeah, no, Brentford also for being 17th in the league before they played us. The 2 games they played at home against Villa and Chelsea, they
won. Yeah, man.
They
so
won
it's
one and
like,
they drew one. Yeah.
This is what I mean. It's like we just have to take things step by step. We have to just trust that these players. But Bruno needs to. We can't. I don't see how we're gonna do anything if Bruno's not on top of his game. Like we've made a decision to keep him. He has to start performing now. Is it like the 100 million's gone? It's off the table. Like what can we do? He has to start performing now.
Yeah, we'll get 100 for him in the summer as well, or 80 at least, I think. But I see your point. The problem with Bruno, is I'll tell you what. Amorim's being stubborn with the system, right? He's never gonna move away from that. Fair enough. I take your point. He's played over 150 games in his career as a manager, and he's played a 3 at the back or 5 at the back. Fine. Let's say that stubbornness will allow him to keep. Second thing he wants to die on, second hill he wants to die on, is that he's never going to move away from Bruno. And if he doesn't want to move away from Bruno, then Bruno either has to make performances.
Perform.
Yeah, he either needs to perform every week, or you take Bruno and you put him in the 10 position and you say, let's start Menu and Ugarte. By the way, I just want to say, because there's so many negative talking points, I think Menu actually did well once he came on the pitch today. And specifically from a defensive perspective, things that we've been asking Menu to improve on. I saw him win 2 tackles in the box when he was almost the last man. I don't know if you guys remember at the last few minutes of the game.
I saw.
He won some tackles in the box, and he actually is improving on the things that we're asking him to improve on. So
to be honest, that's how Menu came through though.
Yeah.
That's how Menu came through. I don't know if you might think back to his debut at Everton. That guy was making some incredible tackles. I don't know what happened. I think it was his injuries. He just slowed down a bit. But he's always been a tenacious player.
Yeah, I think it's just his passing. He's such a cultured player at the same time that people don't think they can coexist. You can't be this person who's good on the ball, slow, likes to take control of it, and also eat up ground and tackle the ball. Like he's no like player that's actually like destroyer, but he does have that in his inventory to actually create some great tackles there, like you said. Steve.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Also, I do believe that you see there's like a aura around Manchester United right now that every team that plays us feel like they can get something out of us, you know? And I feel like more than people think, that's affecting us a lot because when teams are coming to Old Trafford away going, their teams are flying out with challenges, flying out with the press. But if you watch other teams play like Liverpool, City, teams don't really do that, you know. Teams like their centre backs don't really have to deal with all of that, you know. And our centre backs can't even actually deal with it. You know what I'm trying to say? If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, what you're saying is other teams come play us and they fancy us. They say that they fancy think they can get us. Yeah.
And the thing is, they can get us. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why it's more like I also lay football down to the mental part of football is very important as well. You know, if teams think they can come and get us and they can actually get us, because let's say if you're playing Arsenal and you thought, let's go to the Emirates, let's press them, Arsenal will teach them a lesson and they will never do it again. You understand? Yeah. But us, on the other hand, you come and press our players, you come and press Maguire, you take 50 minutes to turn on the ball, come and press Luke Shaw, you shouldn't even be here anymore. You know what I'm trying to say? They're going to get something. 100% they're going to get something. So it's like...
The problem is, CB, what you're basically talking about is the fear factor, right? The fear factor has not only disappeared from the team, it's also disappeared from Old Trafford. It's disappeared from many, and let's not forget, under Ollie, we set the record for most away games without a loss, or was it the most away games with victories? It must have been without a loss.
Even
we went 29 games.
Ten Hag.
We went 29 games during the COVID season and before and after that. We went 29 games without losing away from home. And in that same period, we were losing almost every other week at home.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
even Ten Hag, how many games did he not lose at home in his first season? Remember,
lots of them. We lost to Brighton. We lost to Brighton 2-1 in his first game. And then the next week,
that was away though. That was away.
No, that was at home. We lost to Brentford away next week. Are you sure? Let's go.
I'm pretty sure it was away. I remember there got flat. I remember a stat flying around saying we made Old Trafford a fortress in that season when we finished third.
Really, that started with Moyes. Once Moyes came in and we started to falter, that's when the Old Trafford mystique started to...
The least you can do is make your home a fortress. The least you can do, like even Brentford do it. Brentford haven't lost at home this season. That's the least you can do. People can't be coming to Old Trafford, the biggest stadium in the UK, thinking they can come here and play their football. That's not right. Something's gone wrong.
A lot's gone wrong.
By the way, that was at home. We lost to Brentford. We lost to Brighton at home 2-1, and then the next week we lost to Brentford 4-0. And then after that, he went very defensive, and we finished the league in third position that season. But yeah, I take your guys' points. I think, look, let me just summarize things here, because I am, my wife's probably going crazy downstairs.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You're going to be yelling and shouting in the house. But I just to be 100 with you guys, first of all, great call. Thank you guys all for joining. But sacking Amorim is going to be a disaster for this club.
100%.
And we can't sack 10 players either, right?
We don't even have a left winger.
The only thing we can do, exactly. The only thing we can do is be patient and hope that we don't get relegated till the January window, right? And I don't think that's physically possible. So it looks like the worst case scenario is a little bit protected. So what I want us to do is go in January and try to get some midfielders through the door. And I really like what Ben said earlier, is that we need to stay in our lane. We need to look at ourselves and realize that, look in the mirror and realize where we are and try to stay in our lane. Because if we are going to go, put in a bid for, Elliot Anderson or Adam Wharton in the winter transfer window, those clubs are just going to laugh at us. They're just going to laugh at us, or they're going to ask for 150 million. So we need to go find those hidden gems, whether it's a loan spell or whatever, get some more players in the team. And I don't want to hear Conor Gallagher, because why are we trying to get another Mason Mount into the team?
There's no point. I don't want to praise Liverpool here, but remember when they were coming up under Klopp, who were they buying? They were buying Robertson, relegated
from Hull City.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. And we can be doing that. That is our lane. We should not be competing for these big boys on big money.
Even Salah, by the way, they bought Salah from Roma for 40 million.
Roma.
They bought Mane from Southampton. They bought Firmino from Hoffenheim, I believe, in the Bundesliga. and they
Yeah.
they made
Van
all these
Dijk from
players
Celtic.
become a lot better. Yeah, no, Van Dijk from Southampton.
Southampton,
But
yeah.
they paid big money for Van Dijk, so that's fair. And we tried to do the same thing with Maguire, so let's not go down that rabbit hole. But basically,
But the Henkapié signing that went to Arsenal, he hasn't even played for them, and he would have made like I'm telling you, that guy played in an unbeaten Leverkusen team.
Yeah.
Like,
dude,
he would have made them in a 3-4-3.
My favorite pastime is actually going through FBref and finding hidden talent that we can get, and I'm gonna do lots of videos on that during the 2-week international break before the Liverpool game. But I'm convinced for the Monday call-in show, I'm gonna do a transfer review and talk about players that we can bring in on loan or we can purchase in January that won't cost us an arm and a leg, because there's lots of players. There's this one player called Santi Comesana, who plays in the Spanish league, who I think would be really good. Let me just show you guys a quick.
I think that's a great. I think it's a great point with the loans that you were saying there. Like that's a big part of Amorim.
See, this guy is 28 years old, right? And he plays for Villarreal. He's making 44,000 euros a week, and his stats are pretty good, right? He's good going forward. He's a good box-to-box midfielder. He's also 6 foot. What is it? 6 feet, 6.1 feet, whatever. And I think he could do pretty well in this team for the next couple of seasons, right? I'm not saying he's gonna change the world for us. I'm not saying he's gonna help us win the league, but we need to improve on basic quality in our team. This is the type of player we need to be going for, not your Elliot Andersons, not your Balebas. And I don't want United to sit there. If Ineos sits there and says, "Oh, look at what Liverpool did. They didn't get slot any players, and he just worked with what he had and made it work." Well, he also had Salah in his team. He also had Van Dijk in his team. He also had Alisson in his team. He also had Konate, who was already there. You can't just say because Liverpool did it, we can do it, because we don't have anywhere near the best players that Liverpool does.
Correct.
And in our situation, we need to start from scratch. And what's it called? Ralph Rangnick said this. He said we need to do open heart surgery. Now Amorim has come in and he's been speaking truth, and he's saying, he hasn't called out the players, but you can tell in the press conferences he's saying, we're not making it easy on ourselves, so what should we do? So despite all that, apparently the poll I have pinned on the channel, 160 votes, 57% people said get rid of Amorim. So I guess that really sums it up.
Guys, I hope you hear us and change your mind, because I'm not saying we're definitely right, but I feel like I understand the reasons why to keep him. I don't understand the reasons to get rid of him.
All I know, if we get rid of him, it's all gonna go down. That's all I know, innit? That's all I know.
Yeah. You get it? And Rishi says Ruben Neves is also available. He's better than any of our midfielders right now. That's just a fact. From Saudi.
Even Norgard is better than Nugati.
Yeah, of course. No, he is. And listen, that's not a piss take. That's nothing to laugh at.
Is so bad.
Because he was
awful.
Listen, Norgard played for Brentford and they finished above us last season.
Captain. Not only played, he was the captain for Brentford. Even Jordan Henderson, you think he wouldn't do? You wouldn't think he wouldn't do a job here? You think he wouldn't do a job here?
Henderson, because the problem is in a 2-man midfield, Henderson doesn't have the legs, just like Casemiro.
Oh yeah.
So that would be the problem with Henderson. But somebody with legs,
he would bring something.
Do better. Yeah, like listen, Yuri Tielemans at Villa would be amazing in this team, because he takes care of the ball and he would do a better job than Bruno. But listen, where we're at,
about Beleba and stuff like that. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Get real with yourself. 100 million again.
Exactly. Stay in our lane.
So we can't touch the centre backs all over again.
Yeah. I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna go through season by season and fix the midfield next season, and then 2 seasons after we're gonna fix the center backs, and then by that time our attackers are gonna be crap again. Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna then try to fix the attack. But anyways, look, this is the cycle that is United. We've been live for 2 hours and 20 minutes, guys. Before I lose it, I'm going to call it here. Yeah. Great call-in show, guys. Thank you so much. And please be sure to join in again. I think it's 6 p.m. UK for you guys on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Whenever you can, I'll bring you guys on. And Dart, as always, pleasure chatting with you as well.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, everybody.
All right. So that was the call-in show. 2 hours and 20 minutes. I think A lot has been said. Get your thoughts in the comments down below. Honestly, great show, and I'm glad these guys were able to make it. Everyone that got on. A few folks that didn't get on, I'm sorry. I'll bring you on next time. But as you can see, we had a lot of people wanting to give their thoughts.